What's up, Tomies? I am so grateful that I get to share this course with you. I want to tell you what the Holy Spirit empowers us with.
This is led. Why are you here? Or you're here to be led. This is why I think you need this course. You're going to receive more than you would receive if I was preaching in a sermon series. Let's go!
I promise you, you will not be the same.
The book of Acts, in its full title, is The Acts of the Holy Spirit through the Apostles. This entire book that we call Acts is actually about the Holy Spirit's partnership with ordinary people who get to do extraordinary things because the Holy Spirit is on the inside of them. If it worked for them, it'll work for us. This is the course. I love you. Let's jump into the episode. Peace. Welcome to the basement, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Tim Ross. We are back. We survived Livember. We survived Lycember, which doesn't sound as good. But we are back in the studio. We are not at my house. The house is a whole vibe, though. I love the house. Like being at the house that was good. I love you guys. To all my press beers, to all my dwellers, to all the promoters, thank you guys for being a part of this and supporting this content. I love you guys so much. So listen, I'm jumping right in. I am so hyped today. I have been watching this man do some of the most hilarious, funniest, brightest, intentional comedy that I have seen in a long time. It's incredibly refreshing. And as a person that did stand up and loves comedy, and comedy for me is what got me through trauma, right? So I went through a whole bunch of trauma as a child. We could get into that if we need to. So I had humor before I had Jesus. It's my first one. It was actually my first coping mechanism. And to see what you've brought to this space has been absolutely amazing. So, ladies and gentlemen, our guest down in the basement today is none other than, I'm just going to call him the name that is out there. And then, but you must give me your full name because I want to be able to pronounce this.
Do we have enough time?
We do. We do have enough time. Okay. It's a very royal name. I mean, this name was not snatched from colonial America. So Shama,
yes, sir,
is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go! Yo, if y'all haven't seen him on Instagram, on TikTok, I don't know where you've been. Your head's been in the sand. And so I want to get into the origin story. I want to get into how you came to be who you are, because I think it is going to be inspirational and informative and encouraging for some people that are trying to come up behind you and catch you and maybe even pass you.
They better hurry up.
Yeah.
They better first of all, build a time machine to 2012.
And work your way forward.
Yeah. Make bad YouTube videos.
Bro, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks so much for having me, man.
No, man, it means a lot. I took a shot in the dark.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I sent a DM on Instagram and just prayed that you didn't think I was a creep. And you were so polite.
You say that like your videos get 2 views online. we know. I knew who you were, man. I knew who you are.
Well,
Yeah, but I know.
Yeah, you know what I'm
online
saying?
is so weird.
Yeah,
dude.
it can be so weird, and I can't assume that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like 330 million people in this country alone.
Right.
So like you can, like there's people with, 2 million followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
I've never heard of them.
Right.
You know what I mean? They got like,
It's wild.
which is it's crazy.
Yeah.
That 2 million people can know you.
Right.
And 328 million people don't.
What?
Like,
What?
who? Who is this guy? So
he's a carpenter, dude. He's not. He just like he builds chairs on Instagram.
Right,
You're like,
exactly.
2 million people watch this man turn a log into a chair.
it's the epoxy for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
Yeah.
So thank you. I just thank you
Thanks
for
for
saying
having me.
yes and
Y'all been crushing it, man. I came in here and I got the whole team watching all the clips, man. Your clip on Christian content. Man, so many people sent that to me, and I'm like, "This is what I've been saying." I sounded like an aluminum foil hat wearing dude. I'm like, it's been bad. I was screaming outside the building for forever until that went viral, and I'm like, "Thank God."
Oh my God!
Somebody else is also,
All right. So I want to get there, but I am into origin stories, bro.
Yeah.
Like the origin stories, like inspire me. They give me context, and so. Like, bro, tell me about you, like where you come from, like your upbringing. Give us some context to you. Yeah, please.
So my name is Shama, but my full name is Eli Shama Kundael Mrema.
Do you see what I'm talking about?
And,
that is a name, man.
I gotta go on the record here.
I'm over here with Ross. All this beautiful brown skin, and I got
you a Coming to America name.
Ross. Well, I know I'm Nigerian from my father's side,
Okay.
and Ghanaian from my mother's side.
And they didn't. How'd they land with Ross?
Well, the Scottish man,
Okay.
married like my great grandmother like 5 times.
Okay.
She's from the tribe of Yoruba.
Yeah.
Yoruba.
Uh-huh.
And this white man, Tom Ross, married her.
Wow.
Like he was already married to a white woman and had 2 children with her. And then he married the African woman and had 5 children with her, and that's where we all came from.
Wow.
So, like, it was dope because it's like, oh man, he clearly didn't care about racism in 1850.
Yeah.
Also, he's a womanizer. So, he broke one curse, started another. You know what I'm saying? You can't get it all right all the time.
You can't win them all.
Yeah, you can't win them all.
Yeah.
So,
I like that you know where you're from, though. I think that's like
it's
being
important.
From Africa, it's really important.
It's very important,
So
man.
I was born there. When I turned 2 years old, my family moved to the States.
Born there
in Tanzania. South
Tanzania.
Africa.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
Born there, moved to the States with my older brother, my parents, and myself, and then my sister was born a year later. And we moved. My parents just moved to Alabama from Tanzania, East Africa. They're like, we're moving to Birmingham, Alabama, and so we moved here. And
That's where my mother was born.
really, dude. I think it's crazy. Of all places, people always ask me like, why would you? And I was like, well, immigration laws were a little easier if you moved to the States to be in Alabama.
Wow.
And that's how we ended
Fascinating,
up there.
yeah.
And we were part of a great church there. And the pastor moved to South Carolina, and we followed him. He was like, "Y'all should move to South Carolina."
Wow.
And we moved to South Carolina. Then we became missionaries. My family became missionaries, and we moved back to Tanzania to do mission work.
Wow.
When I was 11 years old. And so,
How long were you there?
I was there from 11 to 18, and I graduated. I was homeschooled while I was there.
Yeah.
And then I moved back to the States for college. So it was really cool because I was practically like South Carolina, man. I was wearing overalls. I was wearing camo. I was hunting with my buddies. And then all of a sudden, my life like shifts to we're in East Africa,
Wow.
right? And my parents are planning a church, and it's basically just kind of dropped in the middle of it all.
Wow.
And I was homeschooled, but my parents were like, you need to learn the language. You got to go out there. You got to make friends. We're also building a church. You're also running sound. Hey, you're also the drummer.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And so it was just a crash course in can you just uproot a family? I mean, we moved. My parents uprooted their lives to be here, and so then they kind of uprooted our lives to be there, and we loved it, man. And that was awesome. That's where I picked up a camera with my brother, and then we started just filming sketches or music videos, and we had some success there. We worked with a Christian rapper in Tanzania, and shot some music videos for him, and somehow they ended up on like some Christian TV stations.
What?
And they would be shown there. And I moved back to the States for college when I was 18.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
You got to take me slower. I need some.
It's a lot, man. I'm trying to like,
No. And dude, this could be a 3-hour pod. We have gone 3 hours. So
let's do it. I wore my glasses.
Well, I'll know it's time to stop when they start fogging up. If they start fogging up, I'm gonna let you go. But I'm very okay. So you get here at 2, and from 2 to 11, you are in Birmingham, Alabama.
Yeah,
Birmingham, Alabama, and
in South Carolina.
South Carolina. Okay, is please forgive my ignorance. What would the tongue of
Swahili?
Okay. Yeah, I did not want to assume that. So was Swahili spoken in the home?
It was spoken a lot in the home. Yeah, my parents spoke Swahili a lot, and there was this. You're actually in some really good. We're in really good territory right now, because I've talked to a lot of Africans whose parents moved to the States in the early 90s. And so I turned 30 this year. I was part of this experiment of let's uproot our lives and move to the States.
Wow.
And so now we're about the same age, my generation of early 90s, people who immigrated here, about the same age of our parents when they moved here. And so, there is this blending of culture where our parents were you're very African at home.
Yep.
But then I'm going to elementary school.
Yeah.
And people are talking, dude, I thought a PlayStation was like a room. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Because I was like, I didn't have.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Like, I was playing on place. I was like, oh, a whole station?
I'm weak.
You had a whole station.
There's a gas station and a PlayStation.
We got freaking puzzles. You know what I'm saying? So there was this whole thing of like, my parents wouldn't let us watch Disney movies because they heard that Disney was of the devil.
Amen.
And so I remember my brother brought home The Lion King on VHS, and my dad was like, "No, we are not watching that here." And then we were like, this is practically a documentary. We gotta watch this, man. And he wouldn't let us. And so the way I've tried to explain it, and my wife and I were talking about this, and I kind of found it was, my parents were also learning this culture, right? American culture, manners and etiquette, and they're also learning the language.
Yeah.
And so what they're imparting on us is what they think the culture is to them, or what they've seen. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so it was it's just like a weird blend of we're guests here, and we need to be on our best behavior and don't embarrass us, but also learn, I guess, and then go. And you remember you're African, but then I'm going to a school where I'm one of like 2 black kids, and the other one's my brother. Right. You know what I mean? And so we're also like, and people want to touch our hair, and they're asking us where we're from, and we don't speak the language because we're like, we moved, dude. I sound like you. I sound like you.
Right.
You know what I mean? As far as I know, I've been here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so yeah, it was a very interesting experiment. For a long time, I remember thinking like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
I remember thinking like, it would be easier if I was just white.
Wow. Wow.
I'm like, I don't. I'm having to explain. What do you eat at home? I'm bringing rice and beans to school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
In a Tupperware bowl.
Yeah. You don't want to be the kid who has to ask for a microwave at lunch, dude. You don't want to be the. I need a microwave to microwave my rice and beans and this one chicken thigh. Dude, somebody's gonna comment and be like, "Yeah, I remember I was that kid."
No.
You know what I mean?
This is a beautiful
Do you know what I'm saying,
space.
though? Yeah,
I do.
yeah.
This is a beautiful space because first gen and second gen immigrants are in this quandary, right? I've seen this happen in the Latino community, where there is a like for every church, that wants to start a Spanish service,
Uh-huh.
right? It's like,
Yeah.
thanks, but no thanks, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like
yeah.
the grandparents will go, but like the 30-year-old who's like second gen, third gen
Yeah.
is going, I'm bilingual.
Right.
I know Spanish and I know English, and I'd rather be at the English service,
Right.
Because your Spanish service sucks.
And you're also trying to be a part of a culture. And gloria a Dios for all of our Spanish speakers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gloria a Dios times 15,000 for all of our Spanish speakers. Do you know what I mean? But you're also, like myself, my wife and I, we have kids. So we relate to people who are in a similar stage of life.
Yep.
That we are in.
Yep.
And so sometimes somebody will ask me, like, where are you from? You know, if I'm at a coffee shop or on a plane or something.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, man, if I got time, I'll.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. It's
But other
too
times I'm
nuanced
like,
and layered.
Dude, I'm
and,
from South Carolina.
Right.
I got a wife. We got kids. I work in video production.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
But yeah. I've heard the term called a perpetual foreigner, because for me, obviously my name is Shama. You know, I go to school. I went to school in Florence, South Carolina. And people are like, well, you're not really American. And then I moved to Tanzania. All of my cousins, I go to the first party we land, all of my cousins we look alike, you know, and they're coming up to me and they're like, oh, mambo vipi karibu tata. And I'm like, nah, dude, I'm from South Carolina. I know I look like you, dude, but I'm not. We have the same last name, but brother, I got my overalls packed right now in my, you know what I mean? And so they're like, well, you're not African. And so I'm like, wait a second, what am I? What am I? You know? And so there's this, you know, my Swahili, my English was so, and then my Swahili was so,
right?
You know, so you're like, where do I belong?
Wow. I need to let that marinate for a minute.
Perpetual foreigner. I thought, oh yeah, that's like the perfect term for that. You know?
Dang.
And my dad would always remind us. My dad, he passed away several years ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
He had this really just insightful wisdom into the whole thing. He would always tell us, home is Tanzania. And even growing up here, he'd go, we're going to go back and we're going to go plant a church in Tanzania. And so we always knew that in the back of our heads. And he would always tell us, hey, we're citizens of the kingdom of heaven, which is kind of corny to say. And I've talked to parents, like my wife is white, very white, and from Missouri. And so we've met with other like interracial couples too. And the husband or the wife is from East Africa. And they're like, how are you going to raise your kids? Right. Cause now we're launching this new group project, right. For our kids.
Yeah,
and we're like,
sure.
one of my parents is white and from America, and my other parents from East Africa.
Yep.
We're kind of pushing them into this, into this experiment.
Yeah.
And they're like, how are you going to raise your kids? And I'm like, I don't have a bunch of American or Tanzanian flags in any house that I grew up in. Right? Like we just, America's somewhere that I lived for a little bit, and then Tanzania was somewhere that I lived for a little bit.
Yeah.
And so, I've just adapted this mentality of.
Well, it makes you a much richer person. Like I feel like outside of cross-pollination, the only thing you can end up is bitter. Now I think I have some support for this. If we lost bees, we lose all fruit and we lose all vegetables.
Yeah.
If we lose bees.
Right.
like I want you to think of how fragile the produce industry is and the fruit industry is off that one statement. Not if we lose trees, right?
Yeah.
If we lose bees,
is it?
We're not gonna have a tasty apple anymore, right? Like we're not gonna have, we're not gonna have lettuce.
It's one of those things that like we know that, we understand that, But then you hear, I remember watching this documentary on Netflix about bees.
Yeah.
And like there was I don't know, like a few years ago, a lot of people's bees, like they died.
Yes.
Right. And so
a whole
they're talking
industry was
it,
about
and
to be
and they're like,
compromised.
dude,
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, if a farmer lost 10,000 heads of cattle, everybody would be up in arms. Like, first of all, you would smell it,
Right.
and then everybody would know it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but like,
yeah.
if I say, "Oh, my bees died,"
Right,
nobody cares. And some remember thinking, like, "Oh yeah, I don't. If I see a bee, it's in the way."
Right. Exactly.
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Exactly.
I don't think about it as adding value.
Right. Exactly.
To my life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So there's this cross pollination that needs to happen, and that's what actually makes fruit sweet. Is not the fact that this apple tree's been homogenized with other apple trees and have never been exposed to anything else. It's actually because the pollen from this flower came over to this apple tree, and then the pollen from this apple tree went over to, I don't know it like I should. I'm just going off of the bits of I've heard, but you get the point. I'm from Inglewood, California. I'll never forget the landscape, the topography of LA. You could, if enough wind blew and it pushed the smog out of the way, there's a certain time of year, Shama, where you can see the most beautiful snow-capped mountains you've ever seen in your life. And in less than 3 hours, you can be up there.
Wow.
Skiing. Okay? There's a certain type of year, certain time of the year where you could ski in the morning and then be on Venice Beach that afternoon.
Wow.
And they would both feel right as rain. Now, I had friends that I grew up with in the hood who have never been to the snow and complain about it. Like, I ain't never been in no snow. I'm like, it's right there.
Wow.
Like, we're not even telling you to go to Colorado. It's right there. Oh, fool, ain't going up there. What?
You don't even got to put pants. You can wear shorts.
Yes.
Wear your slides.
You don't even.
Up,
Yes. You don't even get it.
Step out. Close the door. Drive back down.
Yeah. But it's just like, I ain't never been to, like, almost like a badge of honor that I haven't been exposed to anything else. But this is why you look like this and sound like this. Because you've
never had soft snow hit your body.
Yes.
While you're looking up. And you never experienced that.
Soft snow hitting a thug would change him. That's probably why he don't want to go up there. Hey, fool, ain't nothing soft hitting me.
Yeah, no.
Ain't nothing soft about me, fool. But literally, like I think I'm born and raised in Inglewood. I have been to Canada, Latin America, the Caribbean, England, Sweden, Australia, Malaysia, Singapore. I'm a different person.
Right.
I can't help but be different.
Yeah.
Because of all that I've been exposed to.
Yeah.
And all the people that I've been exposed to. If you can be exposed to that many types of people and not change, something's wrong.
I remember having a conversation. This is 2020 in the height of all of everything racial going on everywhere.
Yep.
Having a conversation with a friend who is also from East Africa, and he was saying he was so frustrated. He was like, "Man, I'm people I used to go to church with. I cannot believe the things that they're saying online. I've DM'd them, I've called them, and I've talked to them, and they just seem so stubborn and so yeah. So I remember asking him just randomly. I was like, "Hey man, have any of the people that you've been arguing or have they ever been outside the country?" And he was like, "No, no, I don't think so." And I went, "It's really hard to comprehend anything outside in terms of race."
Yes, sir.
If you're a white person and you've never been in a country where you're the only person who looks like you in a context like that, it doesn't make sense.
It's never going to make sense.
But
to
also,
you.
it's like, why are people coming? Why are people coming here? And I'm like, hey man, I was born in Tanzania.
Yeah.
I've been to Tanzania.
Yeah.
But I also come back.
There's a reason.
You know what I'm saying?
My parents left.
Yes. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so it's like, hey, the what is available here and what the opportunities here? It's like, hey, it's cool that people wanna be here. And I don't think I know of so many people who moved to the States and their status, their immigration status is so that they have never seen their family.
Yeah.
And they have grandparents and parents
Yeah.
passing away and weddings that they don't attend.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to say in all of that, but I'm like, it's different. Like people are doing it for a reason,
Right.
for something.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you've never talked to somebody who's done that or been in a country where people are, you tell them you're from America and their eyes kind of light up.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's like it's difficult to comprehend.
Yep.
You can kind of spout off as much as you want.
Right.
And you're like, well,
Yeah.
you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah. So I went to Australia 23 times in 10 years.
Wow.
The very first time I went.
You gotta hook me up, man. I want to go to Australia so bad.
You haven't been?
No.
Okay. That I can. Yes.
Let somebody know.
Yeah. I
Little
can't.
tell
Like I
jokes.
can literally
Yeah.
let somebody know that.
Let's do it.
Okay. So the very first time I went, I'll never forget. It was January of 2010, and I was there 11 days, and I was so shocked by what I experienced that I literally came home and told my wife, would you be willing to move to Australia?
Really?
And she's like, no. Like, what are you, a whole nother continent? And she's Caribbean, right? You're trying to move me away from my family? Right? She spazzed.
Man.
And I was like, I thought I was.
Did you say this and you ducked behind a wall? I would have locked the
Yeah,
door.
well, right after that clapback, I
Yeah.
knew maybe I shouldn't have brought this up before prayer time. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, but here's what left the biggest impression on me. Australia was the first continent I had ever been on and the first country I had ever been to that was predominantly Caucasian and did not have that spirit of racism that is indigenous to America. And so I came home and I told every single black friend I had, imagine going to sleep tonight and when you wake up in the morning, there was never such thing as racism in America. That's what Australia feels like to an African American. And not that they don't have their thing, like they have their things with Aboriginals and all that kind of stuff. But
and kangaroos who will punch you.
man, them kangaroos go to the gym. Like when I see a kangaroo with pecs, I just think, I don't want to be at this zoo. That's what I think.
You're like, man, I'm kind of threatened, but I also want to know your meal plan. How much you benching, dog?
Joey, what do you eat in the morning?
Yeah. Tell me that.
What's your pre-workout? What's your pre-workout routine? Okay. So,
dude, you know what? I just remembered when you say this. I was at a restaurant and I was eating wings at this restaurant, and there was a black guy who was also telling me, like, dude, you got to go to Australia. He was talking about, and he kind of was talking about the same thing.
Really?
Yeah, this was like last November or something. I remember thinking, is he for real?
No,
Yeah.
dude, like
And
literally, it was so surreal. Like the only thing that they, like it was, they just were like, wow, you have a beautiful accent. And I was like, that's it. like it genuinely is not in them. Like it's not their history. It's not their context. And they're incensed by it. Like they're like, I can't believe that's even an issue. And I'm like, I want to move here. I will learn to drive on the other side of the road for you. And then 4 years later, Juliet came with me and she goes, can we move here? I said, you should have listened to me 4 years ago. We got to plant a church now.
Yeah.
If I'm Abraham, I need you to be Sarah. Next time I say something to you, girl, you need to just.
We take down.
When
the
I
tents.
move, you move.
Let's go.
Just like
Let's
that.
go.
Right? You know what I mean? Let's go. But it. Okay, I'm gonna say this. I don't think I've ever said this out loud on a mic. I know I haven't. This is gonna sound so weird. Now I know I'm probably gonna piss some black people off when I say this. But I can't. My visits to Australia made me come home and have hope for American white people. As a whole. Now,
yeah.
I got covenant relationships with white friends, right? Like brothers and sisters to me. So that's, it's not like I've been over here like, you know what I mean? Black powered up like.
Just with a leather jacket.
Right? And a pick in the back of my hair, which I do have a pick that can stand up in the back of my hair.
You went to Australia. We get it.
But I did come home like with this sense of like, I know what America could look like.
Yeah. Yeah.
If they would give and I mean that as a whole, right? Like I know what America could look like if we would give ourselves permission to not allow our history to shape our future. We definitely have to address the present, but it doesn't need to shape our future. So,
I will say, man, with a name like Eli Shama Mrema, every doctor's office I've been to, like, and somebody asks, I'm like on this education tour of, I'm from East Africa. And they're like, oh, what do y'all speak there? And so I'm like, well, some people don't even know the questions to ask.
Yeah.
And so they see somebody who looks like me and I sound like a white boy from Stranger Things. Yeah. And they're like, where'd you learn to talk that? We're a little boy from Africa. Why don't you sound like T'Challa? I love that Canada forever.
Canada? I'm dead meat.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so they're like, where'd you learn to talk so? How'd you lose your accent? So I'm like, well,
how'd you
I get them all the time, man. I get all the questions all the time. How'd you get here? You're like, dude, the Mayflower?
Like you lost your
the Mayflower?
Like you lost your passport.
Yeah. Just one day.
Where did my accent go?
One day.
It was over here by my coffee.
I had it right here. Oh, it's gone. Just like that. I don't know what happened.
Wow, dude.
And so, there's I've been with friends and they'll get more mad than me. Like, I cannot believe she asked you that. I'm like,
oh yeah,
she didn't know.
Yeah, my white friends will smack a white person. Yeah. Like on my behalf, and I'm like, we don't have to do that.
I mean, I can't do that.
Yeah. You can, and you should sometimes. No, dude.
Hey, Wakanda
forever and ever, especially after Wakanda forever. Okay, so 11 through 18. Yeah. Is this coming back to?
I mean, the motherland, man.
Yeah, you come back to the motherland, but that's where content creation starts for you?
Yeah. I remember my brother and my dad had a camcorder, mini DVs, plug that sucker up to a computer, firewire, play it back to put it on the computer. You know what I'm talking about. Sam knows what I'm talking about. And so we just started making stuff, man. It was a whole process. Kids now got the cloud. We didn't have that. I sound like an old man. We ain't had a cloud.
In my day.
We ain't had a cloud.
Shaky hand. In my day.
You had to plug the camera up to a computer and pray. Right. And it took you the length of what you recorded.
To transfer it. Yeah.
And we just started making stuff, and we weren't. Obviously, you're never good when you start off. And we met this rapper. We used to listen to him on the radio. He's a Christian rapper. His stage name was Against Devil, and his real name was Moses. But Against Devil kind of go harder if you on the radio. He came over.
That's pretty gangster, dude.
Against Devil, dude.
That's one of the most declarative rap names of all time.
He's so against it, he don't have time for articles. He's like, I'm against devil, and I'm not wasting time. Okay? Oh my god! And we would listen to him, and we were fans.
Yeah.
And our our assistant pastor, we planted a church. We moved in 2003, planted a church, and my dad had asked a pastor, a gentleman, to join us to be the assistant pastor, and one of his daughters was like, "Hey, I know Moses. I know him. I can get him to come here." And we were like, "Could you?" And he showed up.
Wow.
One day. And I remember I was so shocked because he took the bus, and I remember thinking, dude, I've been listening to you on the radio. I thought like a
Lambo.
Yeah, I remember thinking like a Wakanda caravan was gonna pull. You know what I mean? They're like carrying, and but no, he just kind of and they like lower the chair down, and he kind of steps down against devil. But no, he showed up, and he's really cool, and we just befriended him, and then he came over to our house, and he saw like us, my brother and I, like we ran audio at our church, like we did the soundboard, whatever, and also played instruments, and we had cameras or whatnot. So we were always like just dabbling and stuff. And he was like, "Dude, y'all need to learn how to make music videos," and we're like, "Hey, why?" And he was like, "I mean, y'all could help me out, and it's just something y'all should learn," and we're like, "Okay," and so he just kept on encouraging us, and later on, we're like, I think we figured it out. We figured out the editing. So let's make a music video. And we did.
Wow.
And we cut it together, and it turned out okay. I mean, we used every effect known to man in the program. You know how you do. We
got 35 options. We're using all 35.
I got 35 options. I got 35 effects, and I got 72 transitions. Hold on.
We're using them all.
I'm star swiping to heart swipe to flow swipe. Do you know what I'm saying? I might even clock swipe on them just because I can.
And all this is happening in a 3-minute and 30-second video.
Yeah, it's chaotic. But, we learned.
People are having seizures after watching this one video. The Manchurian Candidate has been activated after watching this one video.
It's like, well, I can warm tint it, blue tint it, and black and white it. Y'all step back real quick. Y'all step back. The freaking Dell's computer's about to take off. All the fans are running so loud.
Yeah, dude.
And that was it, man. That was the beginning. And I remember we put it on like a DVD or something. He was like, dude, it's on TV. And we'd walk on the street, and people would recognize him. We're like, Against Devil. And he'd be like, yeah, it's me. And then, it was so cool. And that was I think my brother and I, we were like 15, 16. Wow. My brother was 2 years older than me. Shout out to Phil. Hey. And he was we didn't really know. We didn't comprehend what we were doing at the time. And
hold on.
We didn't know.
Eli Shama.
Yeah, hold on. Okay, my brother's name is not really Phil. His real name is Eli Fadili.
Okay, got you. Okay, okay. I'm about to say, bruh, what?
or as some people will like to call it, I ain't gonna be able to say this one. My dad's name is Kundel Mrema, right? My mom's name is Jacinta. My brother's name is Eli Fadili. My name is Eli Shama, and my sister's name is Lydia. And so we'd go to churches.
Lydia got away.
Yeah, she got away.
She got away.
So we'd go to churches, and the pastor would introduce us, and he would I'm talking butcher each name. They're like, I can't, I'm going to have a hard time. Lydia, I could say. And we're like,
oh my God.
Let us just invite us up.
Yeah.
Or you could have pulled us to the side in the foyer and been like, I'm going to hit record on this little tape player real quick. Just let me get those names one by one.
It's the lack of intentionality for me. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't learn it. Yeah.
They're saving that space for pronouncing names like Timothy Chalamet.
That one we'll learn.
Yeah.
But not yours.
Why? Who? I'm going to call you Phil.
Right.
That's what they,
exactly.
So we didn't know what we were doing.
Phil.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to get Phil out of there.
Yeah.
But y'all started making this content.
Yeah.
And I think low-key this guy just found a way to hustle some teenagers to make his music videos.
Man,
have you thought about this in hindsight?
I have, but also I will say in the creative space, there is this we in video music in general, you can't do everything, right?
Yeah,
you can. It's gonna be okay.
Right.
But so in a way, I'm not saying you have to it's not exploiting, but you need, hey, I want to write,
Right.
okay? And you meet with somebody who goes, I want to direct, okay? And then somebody else is like, hey, I'm really good behind the camera.
Right.
And all together, right, you create this force
Right.
but, obviously, my brother and I, we didn't have music videos.
Yeah.
And we weren't good. We didn't have sketches. We didn't
Right.
have comedy.
Right.
And so somebody came in and kind of went, hey, guys, I think I've got an ingredient. We can cook. You got a pot, right? And you got a fire going. I've got some ingredients that I can bring. And so when he brought that, like, yeah, that it helped.
Yeah.
It changed our life. It changed my life.
Dude, that's all right. So okay. Oh man. Oh my God, my brain. All right, so now we're getting into the spark.
Yeah.
Like I'm always looking for like what sparks people. Like it's one thing to see the success you have on social media and what you're doing with comedy and sketches and stuff like that. It's another thing to know the spark that like turned it for you. So obviously you're already goofing around. You're already like ideating, dreaming, acting, doing comedy, laughing it up, but then doing music videos for this dude is the spark that makes you say, well, now that I learned 4 different tense and 5 different ways to transition, right? Right.
I think I got it. Yeah.
I think I can do this for myself. So when does that camera turn around on you?
College.
Okay.
So I moved back to college and I moved back to South Carolina for college. And so I'm out of place. I'm once again where I had known American culture.
Yep.
Before I moved back, I just spent, what is that, like 7 years in another country.
Yeah.
And we would come back for a few months over the summer or something.
Yeah.
And so now I'm back in the States.
Well, let me just, I need to appreciate this real quick. 9 years.
7 years, yeah.
Well, 2 years in Tanzania.
Yep.
9 years in the States.
Yes.
And then 7 years in Tanzania.
Yes.
And now back in the States.
Back in the States.
Bro, I don't know many people that have that level of diversity woven into their adolescence.
Man, it was hard.
Yeah.
It was really hard in so many different ways. And I would say the transition back to the States for college was, man, I remember not only was I back, but my parents were like, hey, here's a car, $100 bill, and we're dropping you off at college. And so then I'm like, oh, what am I doing? And I gotta get a job.
Wow.
And now I'm like, I want to be creative, and I'm going to Bible college,
Wow.
And so
It sounds destabilizing.
it was rough, man. I cried a lot. I cried a ton during that season, man.
Yeah.
Just because I remember thinking, I'm like, am I gonna be able to come out of this?
Right. Yeah.
Freaking Top Gun, where you're like, I'm barreling towards a mountain.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And there was I remember my mom. Love my mom, who she's been staying with us since September. We had our 3rd baby.
Awesome.
And my mom was like, I'm always so proud of you because she said, she was like, we didn't know, we did the best that we could. And they knew that they're like, we didn't really set you guys up well for this, They didn't have a bunch of savings for our college.
Yeah.
And also they didn't, they've built a house very much later on, like after all their kids had graduated.
Yeah.
So they did things out of order and now they're watching us kind of like, hey, go.
Yeah.
All right, go.
Yeah.
And so my mom's like, I'm like, I can't believe my son is driving me right now.
Wow.
She'll say things like that. And so, it's really cool, man.
Yeah.
God has been incredibly faithful.
Yeah.
Incredibly faithful, man.
Yeah. That's awesome. All right. College, I
move here for college.
Yep.
I go to a Bible college. I'm volunteering at a church. I'm on staff. I wasn't on staff. I was volunteering at the time. I joined staff later, but I was in their student ministries.
Yep.
And so the pastor at the time was like, "Hey, would you like to like open up the service or like host something, or hey, we're doing this conference. Would you like to do a segment or like MC the thing?"
Yeah.
And so I kind of did all of that, and then I also started a YouTube channel, and it wasn't good, but I remember just like, "Hey, I need to make stuff, and I'll upload every Friday." You know, I'll just upload every Friday, and I just kept on doing that.
What year was that?
This was 2012. I started in 2012. Yeah. 2012.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there is content that people can go back and watch.
Brother, it is
from
unlisted,
a
so
decade.
people cannot watch it.
Bro, you gotta let us see that, man.
I know. And some friends have been telling me the same thing. I need to.
No, honestly, because if we have an opportunity now, it would be very generous of you to do it. You ain't got to do nothing you don't want to do. But like, it would be so dope for people to see Shama at the beginning.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's that kind of file footage you don't get of George Clooney until after he's won an Oscar. And then it's like, we want to see his audition tape for Ocean's 11. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
or
like basically people are like, man, I don't want to see the ingredients, but I'll see the cake.
Right. Yeah.
I think I've been able, sticking to the analogy, I've been baking a great cake, and it's got a lot of layers.
Yeah.
And so, man, some of the early stuff, man, I'm like, I've had a really cool come up.
Yep.
From being by myself, using a lamp with like 5 lights that I bought from Walmart.
Yep.
To being on productions with my friend who's a director of photography, Brian French.
Wow.
And he's within a mirror behind the camera, lighting the heck out of a scene. And I'm like, whoa, what happened?
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah.
I like bamboozled myself.
Yeah.
You know, into this thing, and now I'm working with people who are talented.
Yeah.
They work on feature films and commercials and all these things, and they're also working with me, and we're creating something that I like co-wrote.
Yeah, for sure.
So, man, it's been awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think it would be very inspiring to like see young Shama.
Yeah.
Right? Because
I might do it.
Because young Shama believed in something.
Yeah.
Right? Or else you don't get 5 lamps from Walmart if you don't believe that what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it would be one thing if it no longer existed.
Yeah.
Right? If you were so embarrassed of it. Hey, man, do you have that? No, I deleted it, man. And stuff. But you kept it. Mm-hmm. Right? You made it private, right? You know what I mean? Right. But you kept it. So there's something there, man. And maybe it's not for everybody. Let me tell you what it's like for me. So I was at, I gave my life to Jesus when I was 20. And at 30 years old, Bishop Thomas Dexter Jakes Sr., TD Jakes, took a chance on me and hired me as a young adult pastor.
Wow.
Got hired in May of 2006. And I preached my first sermon a month later to 25,000 people. Okay.
Was he in the room?
No, he wasn't. He was never in the room anytime. He was there one time I preached. Yeah. But I preached over 4 years. I preached a lot on weekends in his stead. And there is a sermon that went crazy viral. Some guy just threw it up on his YouTube channel. It has like 600,000 views. Is that right? Stop Tripping Is Coming? Has like 600,000 views. I'm 33. I'm 47 now. I'm 33 years old. I'm in a suit.
One of TD's or just one of your own?
Well, it looks like it's his on me. So
got her.
And I got you
gotta see it, right? He's like, hey, I'm gonna let you preach, but you have to wear my suit. I'm like, all right, TD, give me that freaking.
So I have on this suit that clearly is not. is not for me, right? And these shoes are Keebler elved on the curb. Like, it literally looks like I came from making cookies in a hollowed out tree and then had to preach, okay?
Yeah, you're like, go.
And that dude is screaming and hollering and preaching hard, and I learned something from that dude. Like, I literally go back to my early preaching footage, sermons, tapes, whatever, and I watch that dude because I'm curious about him. And I'm like, I'm smarter than that dude now, but am I bolder than him? I'm more refined and diplomatic than that dude is right there, but am I braver than him? Like, and so I think sometimes going back and looking at young Shama, young Tim, right? Like young Chrissy, like whoever you are, go back and find something that's like, that you're embarrassed about. Yeah. And just be curious enough to sit with him for a minute and be like, what was this dude thinking? Yeah. Because that dude got you here. Not that like here is like the ultimate place. Tim. But you know what I'm saying? Like, that dude got you here, dude. Like, that dude sowed seeds for you to be on the set with a DP and be writing content that you co-wrote with, and you're producing stuff, and you got hundreds of thousands of views and followers like crazy. You're making the world laugh, fam. Yeah. And it started with a dude that said, I'm going to Walmart to buy 5 lights. Like, bro.
They gonna see. Not just that, but I'm also like, it's over when I do this. This is my year. I used to say that all the time. This is my year. The moment I turn on.
Y'all made fool. You should have.
Yeah, they got the goose. They got the goose sticks. I'm like oh, bro.
Y'all about
what are shadows? What are shadows, Sam? Not in my videos. Oh, depth of field. Never heard of it. Shooting wide open, baby.
Oh my God. No, dude. That dude got you here, man. Yeah. That dude got you here. You need to go say thank you to him.
Man, I received that, man.
Yeah.
I really received that.
Yeah.
There is a wonder, and I'm using that term, like a wonder that you start off with when you're creating. Yeah. That I'm gonna be honest, man. This is year 10 for me. And so sometimes I'm like, oh, what am I doing? You know? And so I'm here with Chase, my buddy. We've been writing and producing a ton, and he's acted a bunch of stuff, and we've had a great time. And he joined our team like maybe 3 years ago. And like, he's got it. Like, he's got the wonder. Like, we put up a video today called Every Hallmark Movie. Yeah. And it just hit 100,000 views. Wow. And it went up like a couple hours ago.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh, that's wow. Man, there was a time where I couldn't sit down if I knew information like that. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And now it's like common.
Yeah. For sure.
And so you can kind of lose it. You can just kind of, it's another plane, it's another trip, it's another thing. I'm going on stage, I'm hosting another thing, and the check cleared, and I'm doing this, and I'm back home with my family. You know, and then I'm like, whoa, like, God has been really good, and this thing it has worked.
Yeah.
I didn't have a plan.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I still don't have a plan.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't have I didn't have a retirement savings.
Right, for sure.
And I still don't, but I'm figuring it out,
yeah,
you know?
for sure, absolutely.
And I'm like, I've caught, there's no finish line. Yeah. But I've been through some really incredible checkpoints. Yeah. But I'm like, wow, do you remember when I did that? Yeah. And then by this time, I'm like, it just kind of accrues to the point where somebody's got to remind me. Yeah. Hey, remember that thing? And I'm like, that is really cool. Yeah. That is really cool. Yeah. Because there was a time where, that same guy, I bet you every video that I made, I had this understanding of like, this is it. Yeah. And, it wasn't it. Yeah. And now the ones that are it, you could kind of glaze over and just kind of go like, I'm doing, wrote another thing, going another thing. Yeah. Yeah. It's incredible, man.
Dude, I'm really stuck on this thought of like not losing the wonder. right? Like I don't want success to numb me.
Yeah.
That sounds scary. That's, you know what I'm saying?
Also, it happens all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Where you're like, I had a meeting with my agents in Nashville a couple weeks ago, and I remember, they're talking about, oh yeah, traveling is tough or whatever, and the woes of success and this and this. I remember asking him, like, so it's the same obstacle course, right? You write a song, you preach a message, or you do comedy, and you keep, and then all of a sudden you get called to write songs, preach a message, I'm like, has anybody done it right? Has anybody ever like gone about it and then enjoyed the process and the highs and the lows?
Yeah.
And we're sitting at lunch eating salads, and they're like, Billy Graham, maybe.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh yeah, there is like. You start off and you're in the course, right? You're in it and you're doing all these things, and everybody kind of trips and falls or stumbles along the way, and you're like, but we know what to do though. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Or people get burned out and you're like, you're living the dream though.
Right, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
$3 million tour bus?
Yeah,
what?
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, oh man, there's more to it than like you do this, you go to the Grammys, you win an award, you hit the road.
Right, exactly.
Like you gotta in here you gotta it's gotta be correct, you gotta be right.
That's right. Absolutely.
In here.
Yep. Yeah. That's the most important. You
gotta love it. And if you don't, you gotta love. Then you're at Madison Square Garden crying in the bathroom before you go out. You know what I'm saying?
So true.
And somebody says that, I'm like, I had a panic attack before my biggest show, and you're like, I thought that's what you want.
Yeah, exactly. Like you worked to get here, and then somewhere between there and here, you lost what you loved. And then it becomes about something else, and that's why you feel like throwing up before you perform at Madison Square Garden, because it's no longer about what you love. It's like I have to impress these people.
Yeah.
Well, was young Shama trying to impress anybody when he bought his lights at Walmart?
No.
Or he just loved what he did
so much? He didn't even know.
Right. You know what I'm saying? I remember young Timmy preaching at Potter's house. I just did it because I wanted to help my spiritual dad. I didn't want him to have to fly in another preacher. I'm here. Like, I thought I was Pippen.
Yeah.
I never thought I was Jordan, but I was like, I bet you I'm Pippen.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to get this chip this weekend, Dad. Like you can. That's the thing about that dude.
As soon as I tie on my keyboard elf shoes.
Bro. As soon as you see the tips of my shoes and the point of my hat.
You just listen. Just throw a towel over my shoulder, hand me the mic, and get out of my way.
Bro, that was that kid. That dude, that Tim, you couldn't tell him he couldn't slay giants.
Right.
And I don't want to be 47 and risk adverse. Like, I don't want to get up in the morning and go, I don't know if I should kill that giant. I could lose everything if I try to kill it. So I'm inspired by you saying that, and again, just encouraging you, bro. Like, that dude can remind you.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, that dude can remind you of where to keep it. Yeah. Stay in your sweet spot.
It's
because it looks like you're having fun.
I'm loving it, man.
Yeah.
I'm having a blast.
Yeah.
It's been incredible. And I'll say the probably the best part, and sometimes I'm like, it'd be different. I wanted this year, especially. I'm like, I wanted this year in like 2015. I wanted to live this year in 2015, but I'm living it in 2022.
That's right.
I've got a wife, and 3 kids. I've got a true north of who I am, who God is, what I believe, what I want to do. And I'm like, this is it. Yeah. So even talking to people, they're like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, well, first of all, I'm already doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I'm
Yeah.
already doing it.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
everything else is not even about the what, it's about the how.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, you're like, oh, you want to be at a booth? I'm like, I don't think I will be.
Yeah. Yeah.
will be.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But you know, I mean, I'm not gunning for anything.
Right.
And so yeah, it's been really good.
Okay.
And my wife doesn't like she'll probably listen to this, but she doesn't care about like this world.
Isn't it the
You know?
best?
It is. Oh,
Juliet's
man,
the
it's
same.
best.
Juliet's never listened to a whole pod, ever. She has no clue.
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't care.
And it's okay.
It's beautiful.
Because she probably gets the podcast all the time.
She's married to the pod. She
Yeah,
doesn't
you're
want to
right.
hear it.
You know what this cereal reminds me of? She's like, please, I'm gonna mute.
Right, exactly. All right, so I am curious about if you can reflect in hindsight. You said you won it this year, 2022,
Yeah.
in 2015.
Yes.
In hindsight, can you see why you didn't get it in
Oh,
2015?
100%.
Please, if you would.
100%. Man, it's been a climb for me. And listen, it's a marathon, and I've ran faster at some moments, thinking I'm gonna get further. I'm gonna put hashtag comedian in the video so people know. Yeah, I'm gonna put hashtag host so people know I can also host. You know, and so there are all these. But the thing was, I wasn't good. I didn't have it. And so by the time I'm being invited, like I'm living this year now, and I'm being invited. Hey, do you want to come do this? Hey, hey, so and so just called. Hey, you're doing this. Hey, you're gonna host this festival or whatever. It's almost like I've been banging on the door, you know, and like I've been shooting at it, and throwing bricks at it, and all of a sudden somebody on the inside just kind of opens it up, and they're like, "Hey, come on in, man.
Wow.
What you doing for the Dove Awards? Come on in, man. Here we go."
Wow.
You know, and you're like, oh, you know, and so I'm glad that all my efforts and my hustle and grind and all that didn't get that door open. Because I think if I would have gotten in there sooner, I wouldn't have known what to do. They wouldn't have known what to do with me, you know? And so by the time it opened up for me, it's like, oh yeah, it's yeah. It was, I was ready and they were ready, you know? And it's similar to, you get married, people are like, well, how do you know? As a man, you propose.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, how do you know when to propose? And people would always just say, oh, you know.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing, man, with success or creation or whatever. Like, people know.
Yep.
People know. You put out a podcast or you watch a video and people are like, oh, yeah, I got to share this one.
Yeah.
But then you're like, well, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
Where?
yeah,
What?
yeah,
What
yeah.
is the? There's nothing. There's
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah.
But people know. You're like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, this is it. I got.
Yeah.
Oh, it's really good. I shared it with everybody.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
I just sent this to everybody. I just emailed it, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
that was it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
there's this just invisible problem that you're trying to solve. That when you solve it, you're like, it was this easy. The whole, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even be like my team are like, we can get you on like a bigger tour or whatever. We can get you on something. I'm like, oh yeah. That's okay. Oh, that's kind of it.
Yeah.
Because you know,
Yeah.
I'm already in the building.
Yeah. For sure.
You
Absolutely.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for a long time, you're like, you tell, hey, I'm gonna tag Ellen so she'll might see, and you're like, it's not even how that works.
Right. Yeah.
I remember we used to tag, people tag bigger comedians or whatever. But I started like, yeah, for what?
Yeah.
But now it's worked.
All right. This is fascinating to me. I'm really curious. You said 4 words, bro, that I don't hear a lot of people say. I didn't have it. Like, first of all, it's an incredibly humbling thing. It takes humility to be able to say that.
Mm-hmm.
It takes self-awareness to be able to say that. What didn't you have?
Man, the maybe the humility, the understanding, the talent, the skill level, the patience, the time, the I don't know, man, just to be the kind of person to accept critique or kind of all of that.
Yeah.
You know, I was also a single man.
Yeah.
You know, and so who knows?
Yeah, man.
But by the time I remember, I met my wife, and then like this was, we met in like September, October of 2017, and that December, my first video went viral, and I uploaded it at her family's house. I was visiting for Christmas. Also, people were like, "Wait, so you met and you're eating Christmas with them?" Like I said, they're very kind, gracious people from Missouri.
Yeah.
And it worked. I knew, and that was it, man. That was like the door kind of being opened, and Grace and we got married in 2018, and I remember being at dinner with some friends, and they're like, "Man." My friend, Mr. John Palacino, he was like, you know, God, before he sends you off, and I'm preaching. But he said, God, before he sends somebody off, he always gives them a teammate. He gives them a partner, Moses and Aaron, and time again. And he goes, yeah, so you getting married, you having a wife? God knows what he's doing.
Yep.
And he did.
Yep.
I was ready. My wife was ready. We were in this, like, she's way smarter than I am. And I'm this creative with gumption and all this energy. And we had our son shortly after that. And so now, like, whereas I was just a young man running as hard as I could towards whatever. Now I'm like, oh, okay. It ain't even like that. It's not even like that.
Yeah.
There's something way more important.
Yeah.
My wife is way more important to me.
Yeah.
My kids,
Yep.
Ezra, Zoe, Lucy, they're so much more important than me.
Yep.
To me, than me and to me.
Yeah.
You know what
For
I mean?
sure. Absolutely.
And the time that I spend with that means more than any award show or stage or whatever that I would get invited to.
Yep.
Because they don't care. Like, my kids don't care.
Yeah, for sure.
They've been backstage. My son's been backstage. I'm like, yeah, got to go on stage. And he's like, oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I come with you? I'm like, no, we're just gonna stay.
I have to go to work. I actually have to go to work. Yeah. I have to go to work.
Some people work 10, 12 hours a day. Yeah, Dad works for about 5 minutes. So let me go out here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Earn this check, come back out.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
And so having all those things kind of lined up beforehand, it's been a huge blessing. My wife keep it real.
Yeah,
your wife too. She keep it real.
Yes, sir.
Hey man, I don't care about the million views. Somebody got to do these dishes.
My dude.
And then you're like, oh yeah, it doesn't matter. The success online. Like, we still gotta eat. We still gotta eat dinner
for sure.
So it's been good, man. I've really enjoyed the ride.
Well, it sounds like,
and it's been in tandem too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
So all of that stuff in general, and then also having like the hecticness and the speed of whatever online, yada.
Yeah.
To the slowness of a relationship.
Yes.
Of fatherhood.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Where it's like, it's not loud.
Yes.
It's quiet.
Yes.
And you know what I mean? And
yeah. No, it sounds like success came when you were grounded.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, we need something to ground us.
Yeah.
And I want to be very, very clear. I don't think grounding is synonymous with marriage.
Yeah.
It's just synonymous with a rhythm of life that makes whatever success manageable.
Yeah.
Right? There's got to be something that grounds you and settles you and keeps you reminded that this ain't it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm producing content and it's making people happy and it's having an impact and it's going viral. But I have something that is way more significant than that, right? My eyeballs are not fixated on the screen refreshing clips. You know what I mean? Every 10 minutes. Is it doing right, like that you're not grounded. right. That person's not grounded. But man, to have, but Grace is your, and then Ezra and Zoe
and Lucy,
like
4-letter names. By the way, I wasn't trying to do what my parents did.
you.
I'm like, listen,
you hooked them up. I'm just dude, you're helping me. You're helping a lot of people because, you know, man, I see everything in pictures. So I'm looking at you using a crowbar on the door and throwing grenades at the door and shooting at the door and doing all that at the door. And it's God on the other side going, I can't let you in right now. Not because I don't love you and not because I don't think you're good.
Yeah.
But I don't want you to get through this door and fall on your face. Like, I love you too much to let you walk through this door and fall on your face. I know you love me. I know you're doing this from a pure place. And I don't want anything on the other side to trap you. So in my graciousness, I send you grace. In my graciousness, I send you Ezra. In my graciousness, I send you Zoe. In my graciousness, I send you Lucy. That's like, bro, he loves you. Like, he really loves you so much that he protected you, right? Like closed doors are protection. They're not rejection. Somebody better write that one down. Closed doors are not rejection. They are protection.
In hindsight,
I
think a lot. You know, you have the wisdom of now. You know what I mean? You're like, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
I reminisce. Right. Who I was, you know.
Yeah.
But in the moment, man, it is. And I went to Bible college. I got a job working at a church after I graduated, and that's what I wanted to do, man.
Yeah.
I was a student pastor.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do.
Wow.
Didn't work out. I got voluntarily let go. And you know what I mean? Well, as some people, they call it released. Hey, man. Wait a second.
That's Jesus glitter.
That's
Jesus
released
glitter.
into unemployment? What does that mean? I feel like guys...
I don't like this release.
I don't know.
Prisoners get released.
Hey, how about hold on?
I've been fired.
Tell the church accountant to hold on. How about that? Don't lose her grip, you know.
Oh my goodness.
And so from there, because part of my story is like making videos in college. I get a job working for a church, and I thought that this was it. I mean, I sold my equipment. I sold the lamps. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
I mean, that's equivalent to what is it? What did the prophet do? Where he like slaughtered the cow?
Yeah,
and
Elisha.
Then Elisha slaughtered the freaking bull, and then whatever burned.
Absolutely, that's right. And started following Elijah.
I burned the yoke. And I thought, I'm just gonna work for a church. You know, this is, I heard time and time again, the most important thing you can do, the most valuable thing you can do is to serve the Lord with all your heart and soul and mind and make $9,000 a year, Tim. I was making $9,000 a year. That's how much my offer was. And so I don't know how y'all do it in Texas for student pastors, but I was killing.
No, you were being killed. I got a lot to say around that.
Is bad.
That's disrespectful.
But you know, after that, you know, I got let go, and I thought, okay, I'll just pick up a camera again. I'll start making stuff, and I got a job working at a production company, in Greenville. And from there, it was like that was 2016, and till now, the rest is history.
Yeah.
I tell people, the best thing that ever happened to me was I got fired from a church.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And the rest for me is like, that's why we're sitting here today.
Yeah, for sure.
And my vision, my goal was, I thought, you know, I was incredibly faithful, and I loved the young people.
Yeah.
That I was, you know, that I pastored there.
Yeah.
Some stayed at my house. Some would, you know, crash at my house. I'd go to their house like I knew their parents. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
just close.
Yeah.
And then when that didn't work out, I remember thinking like, oh, am I ever going to be influential to somebody again. Not saying that that's the end.
No, no, absolutely.
Am I gonna get to be in a role of leadership because I've got this Bible college degree,
right,
that I worked 4 years for. I gotta do it. And people are like, oh, you need to just apply to other churches. I'm like, what? I'm not a student pastor free agent. What do I tell another church? Let me stand up so you can check my vertical.
Somebody was about to sign you off waivers.
Real quick. Yeah. I'm just doing like
Shama is signed off waivers.
I'm very excited to take my talents to Elevation Church, not the main campus. Not the main campus, the one that meets in the movie theater with the popcorn on the floor. Let's go.
Oh my God.
Do you know what I'm saying? So, so from there and all the things that, been able to be a part of, I'm like, whoa, there was this plan that I had for myself of my dad was a pastor and a bishop. And that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
That's what I've studied for. That's what I want to do. And when it didn't work out, I'm thinking, I was deeply depressed.
Yeah, man.
It was a dark time. And I was just talking to somebody who also got fired from the church that I used to work out too. He worked there. He worked there too. And we met up at I was like, man, you made it out of the cult. But also, your better days are ahead of you. That's what I told him.
Absolutely correct.
I was like, your best days are ahead of you.
Yeah.
Because at least now you know what the plan you know what the plan isn't.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like for a long time, I didn't have a plan.
Yes.
But I was like, oh, I'm so thankful that I know I got dumped a lot. A lot of people they do the dumping. I was the dumpy in relationships in the past. And so, you turn your playlist on, you cry. But then afterwards you're like, hey, I know what the plan is now.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know
absolutely.
what I mean? Yeah.
No, dude, that's bro, I'm bugging off of the revelation and again in real time. I don't want to dismiss. I'm glad you said in the moment, because I don't want to dismiss somebody's feelings, right?
Yeah.
Like if it feels like rejection, it is rejection. But in hindsight, you realize like this was protection. I should not have been here. God didn't want me here. He didn't want me in that relationship. He didn't want me connected with this organization. He didn't want me taking that job. For whatever reason, I don't understand it now. I did have my heart set on it. I thought this was the dream. I thought this was what I was supposed to do. But in hindsight, you go, oh my goodness, I am better off going away from this. So, okay. So where are we now? Like, what do you do? Like, okay, so I got to tell you what my favorite Shama videos are right now. And this is where I love all your stuff, but the ones that got me were the guest preacher.
Loose cannon guest speaker.
Loose cannon guest speaker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. However many you have, I have seen them all. Yeah. And I resonate with them all, unfortunately. And I'm like, I've seen every single person he's talking about. Dude. I know their names. Bro. I know their addresses. And
the loose cannon guest speaker is disguised as a sketch, but if you just listen to it and don't watch it, it's a documentary. You're like, okay, you're taken back to that camp where that dude was just spouting off.
Oh my goodness, dude! And you were prisoners.
You're all trapped in the gym.
That's exactly right.
And you're like, the basketball courts are right there.
That's right. That's exactly.
Wrap it up,
that's right, dude. That's right.
Yeah.
Dude,
Sam knows what I'm talking about. You've been to a service where the basketball courts are behind you, and you're like, man, I could be having more fun. This ain't even the funnest thing I can do in this room right now.
As soon as this dude shuts up, I'm gonna dump. Right? Yeah. I just think that dude, your timing, your edit, your
things are chaotic, man.
The cadence, it's gold. The one that you did with John, just recently,
John
Christ in a parking lot.
The parking lot,
I promise you, I think I peed a little on myself. I'm certain.
There's two guys who were like trying to convince you to come to our church.
I was weak.
You probably were weak because you made some of those videos. Where
Well,
like, come out, we gonna have Little Caesars. And you're like, how do I make Little Caesars exciting? Help me out. Can I run it back? Can I run it back? What up, fam? I'm not your family.
Right. That part, right?
Yeah.
All right. So when you're going through because there's artistry behind all of this, right? It's not just the end result is
chaos
and funny, but people don't understand the art behind it.
Yeah.
So what's going through you? How does it work? Because everybody's got a different approach to that. So what is the seed thought for Loose Cannon? And what is the process you go through prior to what we see?
Yeah. So the inspiration was my co-writer and a good friend of mine, PD, Paul David. He's probably gonna listen to this.
Shout out, PD.
Man, PD's hilarious, dude. He was in my student ministry. I met him when he was like 10. I was like 18. I was like, dude, you're the funniest white kid here, dude.
Wow.
And now we write together. We write and produce stuff together, man.
That's dope.
And dude, okay, so we knew a pastor, and when he'd get going, he'd be gone. You know, he would just say, and he wouldn't even remember half the things that he said. And
that's the worst.
And so a lot of times, like, you know, you just listen to him, and then later be like, hey, do you remember?
Did anybody think it was inappropriate?
Were we all in the same gymnasium?
Yeah.
With the lights that went.
Yeah,
were we all
exactly.
in there where he said this?
Yeah.
And so we were like, hey, what if we just compiled all of those? And so the process is us trying to outright each other. We're trying to write the wildest things that we've either heard somebody say, or we've come up with.
Yeah, for sure.
And what was really shocking about that's probably one of the biggest video series that I've done.
Yeah.
Is that we wrote this as like, you know, we're kind of making fun of like, you know, this one pastor that we know.
Yeah.
Who's still wild, by the way. All right. And the amount of people that related to it was both insanely funny.
Yeah.
But also incredibly sad.
Yeah.
And I hate to make a turn like that. It's incredibly sad.
Yeah, for sure.
One time I opened it up. I opened up the DMs and I was like, hey guys, have you ever been to a church or a service where somebody said something crazy? Like, it didn't make the news, but it was wild. Just send them out. Dude, I didn't even get to open them all.
Wow.
And I remember thinking, being just verbally abused in a sermon is so common that everybody's like, that's par for the course.
Wow.
My pastor gets crazy. Hey, he shouldn't be.
Right, exactly, that part. Yeah, exactly.
I know it's
this
funny.
Is malpractice.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah. You
if
should not go.
If a doctor was wilding like that, like they'd be like, all right, hold on, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Give us the coat.
Right, exactly.
You know?
If I went to get a root canal and when I woke up, my wallet's gone.
You're like, all right, hold on. Hold on, I got some questions for you, Dr. Dylan.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Dr. Dylan.
There's a Dr. Dylan Greenville messed up my teeth. But anyways, all I'm trying to say, he ain't gonna listen to this.
He ain't gonna listen to this. Oh my God.
If you own the thing about being a pastor, man, dude, if you own a Taco Bell franchise, you're held more accountable than if you're a pastor in some places. You know what I'm saying? They be going off. And so that was the genesis of the series. Dude, I'm sorry, man.
Don't apologize. This is the wrong place to apologize for anything. We are in the basement.
We're actually on the second floor, but it's the basement.
We're going to edit that out. No, we're not. Hey, so, okay, dude, you just said something, fam, that is just like, this needs to be said.
Yeah.
The lack of accountability for pastors is, we're not just talking about illegality and immorality, but accountability for what you say.
Yeah.
Is
atrocious.
Staggering.
Wild.
I don't have to go back any further than the summer of 2020 and the fall. If you were, okay, buckle up, all the smoke coming in 5.
Somebody get him the TD
4,
Jakes jacket real quick.
3,
My man.
2, where's my pointy shoes?
Kill him.
Young Timmy coming at you. No, like literally, if you were in the fall of 2020 and you prophesied Trump was about to win and he didn't, and you're still the lead pastor of your church, you should be fired. If Shama gets voluntarily released as a student pastor for who knows what, probably not being gracious with the $9,000 you gave him.
I had a $5,000 budget too.
Oh, that's painful. For a whole year with some kids?
Yeah, you know.
That ain't pizza through the summer.
Right.
At Little Cece's.
They'd cut the slices, and then I would cut the slices even smaller. I'd be like, no, we kind of need this stuff.
This is
multiply it.
How do
somehow. Do you still do that? God, do you still do that? God, I pray that this 2 liter of Mountain Dew would keep pouring even after the 2 liters is
But no, like we literally had people prophesying Trump was going to be president, and then and I'm going to listen to another prophetic word coming out of your mouth? You literally prophesied, and I'm supposed to believe anything else that comes out of your mouth. How?
You know, they are so slippery. All those people, you can't pin them down, dude.
You really can't.
That's what makes me so mad.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We gotta. Yeah, I'm not saying we don't want to tackle you.
No,
but I
don't
kind of
want
to
physical
see
violence.
you tap out. Like I want you to like
that part because
I was wrong.
That part.
Say
that, right? Like say that. Look in the mic.
Just go. Hey guys, look.
I got that wrong. I was in my emotions. Yeah. I got caught up in. I mean, I know they ain't gonna say this, right? I got caught up in some, Christian nationalism. I got a little too patriotic for my own, and I stood here in the stead of God. I don't know why I got this accent for him, but I stood here in the stead of God, and I actually say it. Trump's gonna win. Now, upon further review. Upon further review,
myself and the elders.
Now, I did show up January 6th, but I did not climb through any of those doors. I was there to pray.
Tim, you're going to get me in trouble.
I didn't know anybody. I did not know they were going to boo-boo on Nancy Pelosi's table.
Tim, you're gonna get me.
I came to pray. I came to pray because I wanted America back where it was. I now have to.
You can tell. You can tell Tim is wealthy because you're like, I still need to cash a few more Republican checks before I can.
Hey, listen.
I'm like,
I actually don't have a job anymore, so this is my job.
I'm like, I do some work with TBN, and they.
Well, if any of this makes
my contact
it,
there don't. You can tell Tim's home is paid off because I'm like, I got rent to pay, so I'm gonna drink this lukewarm coffee while he kind of go off right now. I'm freaking sweating. Tim, you killing me, Tim.
Shama's like,
I'm gonna let you finish.
Can you please not air this until after the Dove Awards?
Tim talking like somebody who ain't been to Nashville in a few years. I was just there, okay? Tim. You know where my checks come from, Tim?
I just hope they don't come from the guy that needs to apologize for the fact that he said Trump was going to be in office and he's not.
No. Oh, man.
We're not going to mess with your money,
Tim
fam.
a little too financially stable. This man put on them thick-rimmed glasses, got a podcast, and man, Tim, you kill. Hold on, let me dab some of this. You got me cooking over here.
Oh my God!
Every time politics comes up, I'm like, oh. All right.
Okay. Listen. I'm
messing with you, man.
I get so itchy.
Chase knows. Chase has been to some of the churches with me. Chase, you don't gotta ask who some of the people voted for. But
Oh
you're
my-
like, all right,
dude.
let's just go.
Oh my
Where's
gosh.
the stage? I'm doing 5 minutes. All right. Hey, Dad has got to go to work. Okay. And then
No, it's I if we had look, man,
dude, I know what you're talking about though, man.
Yeah.
I think there is a there is a level of importance that people have placed on I mean, I'll say, man, politics and whatever that it kind of superseded like scripture and what we're called to, you know? And so
agreed.
I'm like, what? Okay, where did we? Okay,
Yeah.
So what do you? Every time that even comes up, look. I mean, you had a great clip that went viral about Christian content, dude.
Yep.
The Bible is full of stories and poems and analogies and allegories and script and people and characters and all woven together in those 66 books.
Absolutely.
And so when somebody goes off, like when somebody pulls a loose cannon guest speaker and kind of goes off and starts talking about Halloween, what are we doing?
What are we doing?
You're bobbing for apples. What are you doing? What are you doing? Hey, you don't need an elf on the shelf. You need Jesus on the cross. Chase wrote that one. What are you doing?
Shout out, bro. That was genius.
You're like, wait a second. What are you doing?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, hey man, let people put the elf on the shelf. Let them put them wherever they want. It don't matter, dude.
It's not. We're
People
not.
just go off on these. Like, what are you doing?
These are things that don't translate to eternal salvation, and we don't take into consideration the journey that people are on.
Yeah.
Right. We want people to be there. Right. Like, you need to have a doctorate in theology now, and you're like, this person's 11.
Yeah.
What do you? What? They're thinking about Fortnite and a sandwich, right? You know what I mean? A sandwich with no edges. Because
that was a great insult, and I'm like, oh my god, he made it even worse. You made him sound like a baby, then you made him even worse. And they can't stand the crust.
They have a crust intolerance because these baby stomachs now, man, the allergies are just crazy.
Man,
all right.
It's yeah.
All
I'm saying is, the Loose Cannon Guest Speaker series is very popular, but if there weren't Loose Cannon Guest Speakers, it wouldn't be. And now I'm gonna keep capitalizing on it.
You better.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think every now and then somebody be like, you need to create a series about what true guest speakers should do. And I'm like,
where's the funny in that?
Well, hopefully, if you can ascertain what a guest speaker isn't from this content.
Yeah. Exactly.
People will
it's
shoot
the
me a message.
opposite of this dude. Hey, I'll never forget. This is like, I guess. When did we start? We planted the church in 2015. So this is in the teens. There was a show that I probably had already been out called Preachers of LA.
Yeah.
Right. And any time, a Hollywood studio wants to do a reality show on some preachers in LA, this is clearly not the church I want to go to. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so, like, some people started asking me, I had just planted the church, right? What do you think of, I watched that show and it's just terrible. And these preachers are all about their money and their cars and their da-da-da-da-da-da. And they were like, I can't even believe it's on the air. And this is doing a disservice to like the gospel in the churches. And I was like, I hope it gets 10 seasons. And they were like, what? They were like, this show is like, I don't think it puts Christianity or churches in a great light. I said, I hope it gets 10 seasons. I hope it has a very long run. And they were like, why? I was like, if that show stays on the air and then people walk into Embassy City, they'll know first 10 minutes this ain't that. So keep putting that on the air because it will clearly contextualize my church when people walk into it. So to your point, loose cannon guest preacher is actually informing you the type of guest preacher you want to have, right? If I have to do the opposite, it's almost like explaining my joke.
Yeah.
And it's not fun anymore if I have to explain to you what I meant when I said it. If you didn't get it, I'm so sorry. You know what I'm saying? If you missed it, dog, I just got to go to the next joke.
I gotta
this
go to
city
Fortnite.
Sucks.
A Fortnite and an Uncrustable.
So, bro, I think it's genius, man.
I really love that perspective because I think there's space for all of us.
It is. There is, bro.
There's enough room for all of us.
Yeah, there is.
And also, people are like, "Oh man, you need to. Do you see what so and so said? You see what so?" And I'm like, they expose themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just give them enough time.
Let them go.
You know, people are like, I'm going to tell it like it is. You go keep telling it, and you go friendly fire on yourself.
Bruh.
Okay? Always happens.
I got Bible for this.
I've never been on a podcast where somebody pulled out a he's like a preacher.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna start doing that.
Like,
except I just have my phone in the Bible and I just read some tweets.
Listen, this is like the best. Oh, where is it? Where the dudes? Where is it? Temple. Oh, hold on. Where's my phone? Right here. Hold on. I gotta get it, dude, because it's just too good. This dude, Gamaliel, is like a genius. And we do this like,
Hey,
let's
go. I commend you. I didn't mean to clown you.
No,
I saw the Bible. I should have,
Yeah.
What do they say? If you're watching a movie and there's a gun in the first act, it's got to go on. I was like, he's got the sword.
I knew I was
took
close.
The sword.
Yes.
Oh, he unsheathed it.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. All right, it came. All right, so 34.
Oh, it's sharper than a double-edged sword.
I knew I was close. Okay, so this is Acts chapter number 5. These dudes are like really mad about what Peter and the apostles are doing. They're getting arrested every time. It's like
chaos.
There's a lot of chaos going on. So they don't know what to do with Peter and some of the other apostles. So they're having this discussion. The religious leaders are having this discussion, right? So I'm just starting at the 33rd verse. When they heard this, the high council was furious and decided to kill them. Heard about all the stuff that Peter and I think it was probably Peter and John. Yeah, because this is after the temple. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so this is after they healed the lame man at the gate called Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, so when they heard this, the high council was furious and decided to kill them. But one member, a Pharisee named Gamaliel, who was an expert in religious law and respected by all the people, stood up and ordered that the men be sent outside the council chamber for a while. Then he said to his colleagues, men of Israel, take care what you are planning to do to those men. Some time ago, there was that fellow Theudas who pretended to be someone great. About 400 others joined him, but he was killed, and all his followers went their various ways. The whole movement came to nothing. After him, at the time of the census, there was Judas of Galilee. He got people to follow him, but he was killed too, and all his followers were scattered. So my advice is, leave these men alone. Let them go. If they are planning and doing these things merely on their own, it will soon be overthrown. But if it is from God, you will not be able to overthrow them. You may even find yourselves fighting against God.
I understand why you had to read it now. I've read that before too, but I never thought about that in this context.
So when I see, preachers of LA, let it go. If it ain't really substantive, it ain't gonna be here in a while. Right? Loose cannon preacher. I can't believe this guy's still getting engagements. Let him go.
Yeah.
If there's no substance to him, he won't be there in a while.
Right.
Tim, how come you don't go hard and call out the names of these false prophets and preachers and call them by name and diss them? I'm just going to let them go. Yeah. They can gain some followers for a while.
Yeah.
But if they're really not substantive, if God's not really with them, they won't be here, fam. So I'm taking the advice of Gamaliel.
I remember, like I said, I got let go. I got released from a church, and I've always had had this fire about, man, when I see a church doing this or a pastor doing that.
Yeah.
And I'm not the kind of person a friend taught me, hey, keep your feelings off the internet. So I'm like, here's some comedy. I'm gonna keep it moving.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. That's good.
And so I remember I was talking to my father-in-law. I have these conversations. I mean, not with microphones and recording or whatever.
Understood.
But just with people. And I remember talking to my father-in-law, Mr. Mark Todd. And we were talking, I was like, intelligent man. And I was talking about, he's been around. He was an evangelist. He was a firefighter. He was a magician. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's just, Mr. Mark has done it all.
Clearly.
And I was talking to him about the church. But hey, man, they can't keep, they can't keep doing, these churches are growing and they're doing this and they're doing that.
Yeah.
And he'd kind of, you know how wiser people will do. They'll let you kind of go.
Yeah.
And then I went out, and then he said, I can drive you right now to where mega churches used to be. And that shut me up. And he started naming some. And he was like, they were on TV every Sunday. They're no more. This person preached all the time. He's not around. This person, you know what happened to him, right? And I thought, oh, it's not lawless. Like, God's not dumb.
Correct.
And I think about that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes
God is not mocked.
That's right. Exactly. Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sometimes we just need to let stuff play its course. The Holy Spirit gave me a revelation years ago. I was in my early 30s. I was a young adult pastor, and we were growing this thing from scratch. We started with 120 young adults, and we just were faithfully kind of grinding it out. And there was another, they didn't call it a young adult ministry. It was called a singles ministry, and it blew up. Like, it was 4,000 people on a Monday night. Ugh. It was craziness. And I wasn't jealous. I'm not the comparative type, but I was like, oh man, what are they doing? And I went to go meet a mutual friend connected me with that pastor. And I went and had lunch with him. And when he pulled up, I was like, not judgment, fruit inspection. Because that's two different things. But I knew something.
Fruit inspection.
I knew we were not cut from the.
Good.
Yeah, I knew we were not cut from the same cloth. I was like, you got on the Ed Hardy starter kit, like the True Religion jeans and the cross over the shirt with
what did he pull up in?
A Viper.
Whoa.
And he's like a young adult pastor.
Yeah.
So I'm like, now this may have been judgmentalism, but wisdom is proven to be right by its results. That's what Jesus says. And I was proven to be right. Like, when I saw that Viper, I was like, this is not from the salary you make at your church. This is from preaching engagements. So I already know you're a bad steward of your money. If you can't cover your bills with what you make at your job, right? And you're relying on outside engagements for like a car note, we are not the same people.
Right.
So I knew that before we sat down. Right. When we sat down and started having a conversation, it was just confirmed. Oh. Right. So then I was like, I'm never gonna meet with you again in my mind. Right. And that was that. Okay. I went back home and started doing my young adult ministry. I remember one of my advisors, kind of mentors, told me, you need to start doing this, this, and this to make your young adult ministry pop. Because if you just keep reading the Bible like you're doing, you're just going to have a bunch of eggheads. And I was like,
oops.
There is meat and there are bones, and that was a bone with no meat on it, right? So
you can't just keep reading. You can't keep reading the Bible like that, man. I tell you, man, the church has produced the best heroes and the best villains.
Oh, it's
and
the truth.
Sometimes they're the same person.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
exactly.
my man.
Right. Exactly. So I keep plodding along and doing my thing, and then one day I'm leaving the Cheesecake Factory.
What happened at the Cheesecake Factory? Who was there? What did you have? What kind of cheesecake? They got a Bible. What did you order from?
So
Come on now.
I'm just leaving the Cheesecake Factory from having a dinner, and as I'm walking out, I get a call from a different country.
Uh-oh.
I get a panicked call from a different country. Is there any way you can come to the conference next week in this country? There was an emergency with this individual. I heard the name. I'm like, that's the individual at that church.
Yeah.
That got 4,000 young adults. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. This sounds amazing, but I can't be in a different country in a week. It's just not the way my life is set up. I'm honored.
Yeah.
Love to come back maybe a different time. It's a major conference. I was like, man, I can't do it. My wife's cute. So I don't go. And I'm praying like, oh, I hope the dude's okay. Well, he wasn't. And that's because he was boning 5 women in his singles ministry.
Ugh.
I never said a bad word about him. I can't believe he has 4,000 people coming to his church, Lord, and he's walking around looking like this and then I'm over here trying to be No, fam. There's a difference between, here's where I brought the whole thing up. There's a difference between a growth and a swell.
This man's speaking clips.
When something is growing, it's because it has a proper amount of resistance. And in the tension of the resistance being lifted and pulled and pressed and pushed, growth happens.
Yeah.
Right?
That's really good.
That's why all the major growth that has ever happened in the body of Christ has come around persecution and pestilence. 2020 grew the church.
Yeah.
Anytime the church has been persecuted or put under any type of duress, it grows. This happened physically with the children of Israel. It happened spiritually with the children of Abraham, right? The stars and the sands, and all of us, the Gentiles that get in on this blessing, right? It literally starts from the inside and goes out. The more that they were afflicted, the stronger they grew. That's what Exodus says about the children of Israel. And for us as well, the book of Acts, the reason why the gospel spread is after Nero's persecution, not prior to it.
Yeah.
The Jews were 20 years in Jerusalem before they spread the gospel outside. Why? They were comfortable. It was only until persecution came that it pushed the gospel out into the entire earth.
Nero's out there lighting bodies on fire
exactly.
on sticks so
and
he
they're
could
like,
eat his dinner. They're like, I'm not trying to be a street lamp like that, so I'm going to go out here and preach the word in season and out of season.
That's exactly right?
Away from Nero.
They died for this faith, right? So growth takes pushing and pulling and resistance and tension.
Yeah.
A swell takes twisting. I've twisted my ankle before, and it looks like a tennis ball is there. That's not growth. Right?
Yeah.
But if you twist some ligaments, and the body of Christ is a body, if you twist something in the body, it'll swell.
Yeah.
So twist doctrine,
Oh, yeah.
a part of the body will swell.
People jump all over it.
Yeah. Twist truth, the body will swell. From the outside looking in, though, it looks like growth.
Right.
And then those that are doing the pushing and the pulling and dealing with resistance and tension think, what am I doing wrong? How come? As an exercise, okay, go Google bodybuilding. See what pictures pop up first.
Yeah.
Then go Google natural bodybuilding, like as a competition, and see the pictures that come up. And you're like,
you're not lying.
That guy's puny.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't have steroids in his system. Nobody's pectorals are supposed to look like 2 dinner plates.
Yeah.
Right? Like, no.
You want to know something else too? I recently enlisted the help of a personal trainer, and for me, because I want to be the swollest dude in Christian comedy, and
you want to be Godfrey,
you know? Honestly, yeah, I want to be swole just so y'all can stop laughing at me when I say that. My trainer, I've been working with Cecil. He's also Bible man in this trailer that we just made, an unofficial trailer.
I love it.
He was telling me, he was like, bodybuilders, like when he's prepping for shows, like when I was prepping for shows, he's won awards. He's like, your peak, like at your peak, your body's actually deteriorating.
That's correct. It's in a deficit.
Yeah. You're not drinking water.
Correct.
You're not eating fats.
That's correct.
Your skin is stuck to your body.
That's
and he's
exactly
like,
right.
You actually can't look like that. Like you can't walk around on the street like that.
No.
And he's also, the only thing you're thinking about is food.
That's exactly right.
And so you see those guys up there and you're like, this is peak masculinity or feminine, whatever it looks like.
Yeah.
And they're up there and they're like, no, like they need to eat something like immediately.
Yeah, that's right.
Just to regulate it out.
That's exactly right.
So a lot of times people think like, oh, I'm gonna do it. You're like, but even then, is I had a really my biggest struggle a few months ago. I remember thinking about like churches. I remember thinking like, why can't a church just continually be great?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like churches, communities that you're a part of or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're like, there's a great season.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing. I was like, oh, you have a great moment where you're like, oh man, and Tim was there, and Sam was on staff, and then we had this worship leader and that worship, and that's like you're at your peak, man. You're shredded.
Yeah.
But then what happens, man? Somebody leaves and somebody does something else, and then you might go a long time before you see like that level of like absolute like peak physique like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even our bodies, like even our human body, we can't contain that. We can't sustain that.
That's not sustainable. And
God calls us the body of Christ.
Correct.
Do y'all see the parallel? Should I hit the road?
Well,
Where's that country? I'm gonna go to a Cheesecake Factory and walk out, see if my phone rings.
Well, you said something that is very, very profound in its simplicity, and that is that the human body was meant to was meant to be able to take in, metabolize, and eliminate.
Yeah.
Right. A healthy body eliminates.
Right.
Nobody's ever supposed to stay at your church forever if it's a healthy body.
Yeah.
Right. When I tell leaders is the only time you should be concerned about the eliminations that happen in your church, whether it's on staff or whether it's people moving in and out, is if they run out or they're hard to push out.
Yeah.
Something's wrong with the body. But a healthy elimination means that it just comes out. Right? Hey, the season's up.
Yeah.
It's great, but it's great. Not even, but it's great. And it's up.
I want to say, so I was talking to Sam, and I had asked you before we started, I was like, hey, what church did you work at? Because I ask people in creative space, I'm like, I know they all worked for a church.
Yeah.
Music, like everybody worked for a church, man.
Yeah.
Just because like a church are like, hey, I can sing okay. They're like, hey, do you want to sing 52 times this year?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God. I mean, you'll be in the back, but
Yeah, exactly. Your mic won't be on, and we need diversity.
You bring it. Do you have a leopard print cardigan? We can use you, Becky. We can use.
That's hilarious.
There's a oh man, where was I even go with that? The tangent was so there's a part of my brain. I mean, having built in production, especially like day playing stuff that I kind of do, you assemble a team, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Build a team. And I'm always in awe every time, even in this room, of the creativity in this space. And this is like the Bible college degree in me. I'm like, what if we put it to use for a church?
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
Because there's this energy where you're like, we could, but then the thing is, it doesn't, you can't build a church based on skill, talent, and people. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you can, but there still has to be like the heart.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
You know what I mean?
Like everything has to be there.
So, you know, and that's the thing. People even look at me and they're like, what church do you serve at, young man? And I'm like, dude, I attend my church. I am a phenomenal member of Greenville Community Church in Greenville, South Carolina. I love my Pastor Mike and Pastor Michael. They're two Mikes. You know?
That's awesome.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm a great member of my church.
Yeah.
And I love my church, man. And I think a lot of times you think about it in a way of like, what can we do for the Lord? You're like, hey, you could be a great accountant,
right?
A great plumber,
right?
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And there's something about the church where we're like, no, we need to use our skill. Hey, man, people got to drive. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly,
people
man.
need houses. People need this.
Yeah, absolutely.
This podcast has got to get produced.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I think people want we want to do something great for the Lord, and then it's like, oh, something menial is. You're like, oh, that's kind of in the way.
Well,
I want to skip to the greatness.
We keep. I think too many churches, and we've talked about this before on the pod, but I think too many churches, Shama, confuse their church with the kingdom. You need to use your gifts in the kingdom. And it's like, I am. And they're like, but we want you to do it in this church. And then you're like, well, either your church is part of the kingdom,
right,
or this is a castle.
You're too good, man.
And I have a whole thing I teach on for leaders between castle-minded ministry and kingdom-minded ministry. A castle is actually the last fortified domain of the king, which is why it's so defensed and has a moat and a drawbridge, and you know what I mean? It has these high arches and people can shoot from above. Right, because this is actually the last fortified domain of a king.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. It's not in heaven. The kingdom of heaven is the only king's domain that doesn't have a castle.
Wow.
Because it doesn't need to be defended, because no one's ever going to attack it. So what we find in that kingdom, our home country, as your father so eloquently talked about, right?
Yeah.
Is the fact that there's a house with many rooms.
Yeah.
So either we are a part of God's kingdom and we have to find what expression God has given this church within the larger kingdom, or we actually turn it into a castle and we try to protect it. And then if you're not serving in here, then you're actually you could be brought up on charges of treason. Because you ain't using your gift. I didn't hear you mention Greenville in the last, I thought maybe in a lower third, Shama, you would at least tell them what church you go to.
Greenville Community Church, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
you know the drill.
You know, like it's literally, it's a castle mindset.
Right.
And they don't even understand that people oh, this is going to hurt somebody's feelings. And I'm going to say it. I can't tell you how many people I've seen defect from castle-minded churches like people leave North Korea. Like, they defect. It's not that they don't love you. It's just that, like, they look up and they're like, you're a little too Kim Jong-un. I don't even know that dude.
Uni.
Whatever this guy is.
I mean, it's not fun serving a king.
No, it's not.
Also,
especially when his name's not Yeshua.
A little tangent. I mean, if this was a basketball court, I feel like I'm lobbing granny shots and missing, and you're just shooting 3-pointers, just in terms of like your vernacular. It's like that clip of Steph Curry from across the court. I know some of those were fake, but I'm like, oh wow, that's how you supposed to do. I'm like, oh, Tim's doing what he thought I was gonna do.
No.
This man had a whole aside about kingdoms and kings, and I'm like, a servant. You know, a servant's life sucks. You know what? When the king dies, he's buried with the servants. Oh man,
I love you.
That's a really good analogy, though. Man, that's tough.
Yeah.
Because somebody who has a kingdom mindset, and I hate to bring it, like I got to reference my church, my pastors. That's the first time besides my dad was my own pastor.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've like seen it, like a kingdom mindset.
Yes.
In somebody.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, that's what it's supposed to be, you know? Because I remember, look, I'm grown. I got a wife and kids, but I remember my wife and I, like, we'd be out of town or traveling, or I'd be on a trip, and I'd go see my pastor, and or I'd see him at church, and I'm like, oh, sorry, we didn't make it.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, like, why am I? He's like, dude, you're good, man. Where were you?
Yeah.
You're visiting. Oh, that's great. And I'm thinking, oh, I don't have to. I've always attended churches where I've got to like apologize.
Right.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Dude, I do.
If
Absolutely.
you miss 2 Sundays, you're like, do you have to beat me? How does this work? You know what I mean? How does this? But then being a part of like a church, we're like, hey man, like, we're sending you. You go. You do this. Somebody goes and teaches abroad. Somebody goes on a mission trip and comes back, and you're like, hey, you're part of this.
That's exactly right.
That's like
fam.
the kingdom mindset.
That is.
Of like, even our pastor was like, hey, I was visiting a church while I was out of town. I'm like, oh, because this isn't, like,
that's right.
You received that too.
That's exactly right. All right, Bible. Because we got proof, man. We got Bible for all it is. We ain't just up here talking.
Also, I'm never pulling out my Bible ever again without saying, Bible. Hold on, if y'all.
All right, so this is Acts 13, right? This is like the dream. Like every lead pastor, take notice if I haven't offended you and you've already like unsubscribed.
They
and
gone,
hate
man.
us. They
gone.
left. They left in the first. They probably left in the first 40 minutes. Anyway, all right. So this says, among the prophets and teachers of the church at Antioch of Syria were Barnabas, Simeon, called the black man. Let's go, NLT.
Let's go.
Lucius from Cyrene, Manaen, the childhood companion of King Herod Antipas, and Saul. This was a 5-talent church. I mean, here's the implication of verse 1. If Barnabas and Saul are mentioned in this first verse, we have to conclude that Simeon, Lucius, and Manaen had to be as dope,
right,
as Barnabas and Saul, because they're all named together. It's not like at the church of Antioch, Syria, there's these 2 dudes named Barnabas and Saul.
Right.
They named 5.
Yeah.
And the Holy Spirit asked for 2 of them. And Church of Antioch, Syria is so kingdom-minded, they're like, go. Because we got more where that came from.
Yeah.
We're not idolizing any of the giftings that God brought in here. God trusts us with gifts.
Yeah.
If he brought you here and we release you, God's going to send us more. But if we hamstring you and start all this creepy manipulation stuff like, well, Shama, it's cool that, the devil word's called, but I mean,
yeah,
we
need you. Yeah.
Yeah. You haven't tried to like host on a Sunday morning or, you haven't tried to, like, if you could help us with our services, I'm pretty sure that, that'd help as well. And maybe maybe you can do an interview with me on the pod.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? It gets creepy.
There's like all of this. There's like manly, like human effort
A lot
goes
of it.
into. I mean, career, everything. But even in church in general, I remember reading a book. I read one of those, and I'm like you, Tim.
Yeah.
We're both wearing glasses.
Yeah.
And this book was on leadership. And the worst part, I don't even remember the name of the book. I need to try to hunt it down.
Yeah.
But one part that stood out to me, it said that the worst thing a minister can have is ambition.
Truth.
And I remember thinking, oh, that's what I was like oozing in. I finished Bible college and I'm like ready to marry and bury folks. And, I'm at a church and I got an office and I'm doing all these things. And what is the plan? I want to grow this student ministry.
Yeah.
And I was like, what, to where?
Yeah.
To 300? So we have, cops outside to help direct traffic, and then we got to bring in a thing, and then we got to bring in the thing. You know what I mean? God. I'm like, to what end?
Yeah, for sure.
And that's, the reason why I got released from that church is because I remember I lost all of this manly ambition of I need to preach harder messages, and I'd be like, no, let's turn the PA off. Let's turn the sound system off. We'll sing an acoustic song with a guitar, and then I'll go up and speak. And that's all we need. Oh, the AC. Let's go outside. Let's sit outside.
Wow.
Let's go outside and I'll speak. And those pastor was like, you need to pump the music up before people are walking in, and then turn on the lights and the thing and the back. And don't make it boring. Don't make it boring. And I'm like, hey man, I'm preaching from. This is the most exciting book in the world. Okay. And then that's what I defected. Out of what, I'm like, I think I'm trying to do. I think I love Jesus, and I'm trying to teach people about Jesus. And act like Jesus. And I'm not. I'm trying.
Yeah, for sure.
But then I'm like, why am I getting? I'm getting bogged down. We didn't disagree on theological things.
Right.
It was stuff.
Right. Absolutely.
Right. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't even learn about this stuff in Bible college.
Right.
You know
Right.
It's a whole different rabbit trail, man.
So, dude, people are defecting from castles, and they're trying to find kingdom-minded churches and ministries, and we gotta help people. We gotta help. I think particularly I'm still with your loose cannon preacher. We're helping people, first of all, know what it looks like to be creatives that are believers. Right. This podcast, we're gonna have people on this podcast that don't believe in Jesus. Point people. We'll invite anybody to the basement. Right.
Is it bad? But I'm like, you'll be like, but you better believe before you leave. Sam's like, we're gonna do our best.
Listen,
I'm a Catholic. You're like, you better speak in tongues.
You have until
Christians, man. Dude, you're a pastor too. Everybody's like, now I'll get coffee with an unbeliever. But you're like, I'm gonna do my best. I can change them. You know what I mean?
I believe.
But no, I understand what you're saying. Just having them
get them in here, man. I believe we've lusted after the harvest at the expense of seed time and irrigation. Right. The sowing of seed and irrigation is incredibly important, or there is no harvest. You know what I mean? So I'll never forget going deep sea fishing in Jamaica, and I'm this first bite I get, I'm going like this, pulling up, and the Jamaican guy's like, hold on, man, slow down, man. You're gonna kill the fish. And I said, what? You're gonna kill the fish, man. You're bringing it up from the deep sea, but you're gonna pop the fish before it even come up. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. He said, slow down. He said, the deeper the fish is, the slower you got to bring it up, man. The pressure. You kill the fish before they even come up. And people that have been deep in sin, fam, you can't yank them to the surface. Because if you yank them to the surface, they'll be dead before they get in the boat. I truly believe part of the issue with Kanye is that we pulled him up too fast. We didn't need to hear Jesus is king. until probably 2030. After like some intense discipleship. Homie, we're not going live. You don't get to come do a Sunday service here. You need to stay in the oven.
Hey, Christians love a hero.
Well, they
love it.
As if they don't already have one.
Justin Bieber saying Waymaker? Hold.
Bruh. We could be here another hour talking about
love a hero.
How insecure Christianity as a whole is in America, that we think anybody from the secular world that validates us makes us feel like, see, I told you we were right, as if his blood wasn't enough. As if we don't already have a hero. We have something better than a hero. We have a savior. And you're happy Chris Pratt said he loves Jesus? What?
No. He read the Christmas Story at Disney World with the castle behind him. I was moved to tears. And also, you don't have to guess who I voted for.
Like, bro, like I'm trying to bring it back to the fact that like creatives love Jesus.
Right.
And we're putting out great content, right? And we're unapologetically Christian. If you can be unapologetically Muslim, unapologetically gay, unapologetically Republican, Democrat, atheist, agnostic, whatever the hell you are, and you think I'm about to tiptoe around you, you got me twisted. I'm not going to be offensive with my faith, but if my faith is offensive, there's nothing I can do for you. Right? Paul rose up into a city, and it's like, hey, you got this little statue over there to the unknown God. I know who he is.
Yeah.
Well, who are you? Well, they don't want to hear me in the synagogue, so let me just holler at your boy.
Hey, he's on one today, right? I'm just happy to be on a championship team, even if I'm on the bench. I'm really.
I mean,
I'm cheering. I'm not even the bench anymore. I might be in the bleacher. At one point, dude, did you see me smiling so big? I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a great clip. Dude, bro, you've been preaching, man. But more than anything, I hope people listen to this. Like, a lot of the things that you've been saying in the context of like this. This is really good, man.
Well, listen.
I will say what we're talking about right now, like what you've been talking about. These are all things that I wish somebody would have told me when I embarked in ministry. Because you know how you just get. I remember going to like a youth leadership conference, and the question, everybody's like, "Man, how big is you? How many of y'all running?" Yeah, and even you, about 80. Like, no, we run 40.
Right. Yeah, you're right. I
remember thinking, like, why are we like why do we need like a big? I mean, I grew up Pentecostal.
Yeah, for sure.
So, man, there was nothing like a big move of the Spirit.
Yeah, exactly.
There was nothing.
A revival hitting the earth.
Pastor couldn't even preach.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, we want the freaking a big event all the time. Yeah. To the point where, hey, if Tim shows up and just reads the Bible, we're like, Tim, you gotta. Yeah. Like, what do you? Come on now. Yeah. Come,
So I went to
Bible.
I went
just the Bible.
I went to Israel in 2015.
Dude, we get it, man. Your passport has no more room for stamps. We get it. You had to order an extension. You're like, hold on, let me.
Hold on, dude. So
I got my other passport. It's got the Jamaica. I got Jamaica stamp. I got the Australia visa stamp. I got the dude who I went fishing with in Jamaica signed it.
Sign my passport.
Real slower man. That's what he write in quotation. Real slower man. This man, the internet. I'm back with international host. This man, I got a call from another country walking out of a cheesecake factory. I get a call from another country, man. My extended car warranty. This man got international invitations. People like, hey, you want to come to Wisconsin? Great cheese curds. Great cheese curds. Keep going, Tim.
My stomach hurts, dude. Oh my God. So, what the heck was I even saying? I don't even know what I was saying.
Let's run back. Hold on. Okay. Israel.
Oh, okay. So I went to Israel in 2015, and we go into what is supposed to be the upper room that the 120 were in, waiting on the infilling of the Holy Spirit. And so I'm in the room, and I'm looking around the room, and I picture everything in my head. So I'm looking around the room, and I'm like, these people got filled with the Holy Spirit in this room. And according to Acts chapter number 2, very shortly thereafter, they ran out of the room into the streets and started declaring that Jesus is Lord. Miraculously, as they start declaring, the Holy Spirit gives them this ability to speak in different languages fluently, so that all of the diaspora of Jewish people that were coming back to Jerusalem could understand in their native tongue. And then I started thinking about our Pentecostal services. And I started thinking about the fact that, well, I just remember people talking about the Holy Spirit, but running around the room for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Nobody actually ran into the street declaring what they just been filled with and the fact that others could get it. They just ran around in circles, happy they got it. But I never saw them share it. They jumped in their cars and went home and had a piece of chicken. Went to fussing, cussing, and being mad and angry, but couldn't wait to get back to the revival the next night, so we could run around for 3 more hours, talk about the fact that we got it and they don't.
I'm so Pentecostal. My brother and I one year, we were like, I was like 14. Dude, we ran with flags. Every time the preacher would be like, "Wah!" We'd be on opposite sides of the stage. Like a deacon would shove us, and we'd be like, "What?" We'd like cross each other, like, "Let's go!" And then we just wait on the other side. Sometimes they'd send us back. That's extra Pentecostal.
No, that's
the altar call. That's the altar boys of Pentecostal. That's a flag boy, boy. That's a flag boy, dude.
Yo,
it's
so true. It's so true.
But I remember I went to a Pentecostal Bible college, and there was a lot of that.
Yeah, for sure.
And at one point, people would always introduce people. The speaker or whatever, the dean would introduce the chapel speaker. Like, man, this is a powerful man of God. We have a student who's the next powerful, or somebody else coming the next. He's a powerful man of God.
Yeah,
and I remember there was a time, like, I remember looking, and I remember
it's a lot to live up to.
I thought, and I knew some of these people. I saw them in the hallways. I saw, like, I remember thinking, this is what a powerful man of God is. I might have to move religions. No.
This is a powerful man of Buddha.
If this is you never see that. This dude hasn't talked in 2 decades. You're like,
this is a powerful man of Hare Krishna.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's this idea of like, man, you can't be a boring, dull dad man of. Oh man, this young man, this man's a faithful employee. All right, of Toyota. We're gonna hear what? What does he do? What does he? What does he do?
Who's led 11 people to Jesus?
Well, get out of the
10
way.
years.
Get out of the way.
He's done nothing. Where's the guy that shook a continent?
Yeah.
Like
We want that. Like, we love that.
We lust it. We don't even love it. We lust it.
Yeah.
And so now we have people romanticizing what revival looks like.
Yeah.
Never mind the word ain't in the Bible.
Right.
In no translation that I know of. Somebody can fact check me if they want to. Revival's not in the Bible.
Yeah.
And yet we want revival to hit America, but you won't talk to your next door neighbor. You're lazy. You won't let a revival happen in you, but you want it to happen in the gay community? You're freaking lazy is what you are.
Actually, I got on a plane to go preach a revival. You're like, for real? How's your city?
What happened when you left? Did anyone besides the 350 people in that room know revival hit?
No, but 2 black kids ran with flags in opposite directions.
2 black kids made this Pentecostal revival turn into a scene from Braveheart.
Yeah, it was.
That happened. William Wallace was pleased.
It was fun.
I just, dude, I could talk to you all day, Shama.
Let's keep it going, man.
Dude, you are like I appreciate the fact that you are like this very grounded, Christ-centered content creator. Like your stuff transcends the Christian community, which a lot of people get panic about. Oh, be careful, because you know the world. The world he told us to go into?
Nah, man.
Is it that world? Is it the Matthew 28 world where he literally said, go into all the world and make disciples?
Since COVID, you got people planting tomatoes and homeschooling their kids so they don't have to go out to the world. And you're like, wait a second. Hold on.
Must I open my Bible again?
Bible! Oh, y'all didn't think he was going to open his Bible for a third time? The gun, you saw the gun. It's got to go off.
I just...
Talk to him, Tim.
It says, go make disciples of all the nations. How you going to do that if you don't leave your house? What? For God so loved the world. What the? You don't love the world he loves? He sent his son to die for that world and you want us to stay away from it?
Yeah.
Oh my God, don't let your content get into the world. Oh my God, that sinner reposted you.
Yeah.
Be careful. You might be smoking meth with him next week if you don't. We got to cover you in prayer. I mean, oh my God, if he calls you to his house, you could be doing lines of cocaine and wake up with strange women in your bed. Baby, we praying. We're interceding. We're just so afraid.
My favorite is don't end up in Hollywood. You're like, what? The place?
The place you want revival to hit?
Los Angeles?
You want porn stars to be saved, but no one's going to talk to them? We had Joshua Broom on here. Joshua Broom is an ex-porn star.
Wow.
He leads porn stars to Jesus. You don't want him to go. He was in the industry. What do you want? So it's
there's like and I got this thought. And I've said it to my church to just let y'all know ahead of time. But our church it's in an interesting part of town. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
And occasionally you see some weird stuff. You know, and one time I remember I saw and my pastor, I always text my pastor like, hey, look at what I saw. I saw a used condom outside one of the doors at the church. And I remember thinking, okay, this is I'll just go. I'm gonna go here to my studio.
Couldn't wait
real quick. And I remember thinking, I was like, oh, this is a community church, and sometimes the community is gonna show up.
Yeah, Yeah,
and the community is they don't know how to act.
They don't.
So a lot of times we're like, oh, we want to grow whatever. You're like, till it gets messy, and then you're like, I'm gonna step over it. I did step over, but I'm just saying, like, we can't step. The analogy is people, like, we gotta reach. somebody else is gonna get the best.
I didn't know.
You know what I'm saying?
I was gonna be in this book this much.
Oh, he in
today, but stuff is popping up. It's you. You the one doing it. Like you like if you're saying I'm shooting 3-pointers, you must have 15 assists.
Come on now.
Because you are dropping dimes, and I'm just like, okay, I'm shooting another jumper. If you passed it to me, I'm gonna shoot it.
Like, but as a ball boy, not as like
No. You are on the court, fam. You are absolutely on the court.
I'm like wiping up.
So this
I wipe it up after you dunk. Get him, Tim.
This is Proverbs 14:4, based on what you just said.
Yeah.
Proverbs 14:4. Without oxen, a stable stays clean. But you need a strong ox for a large harvest. Let's break down the proverb, shall we? You don't want a mess. Don't have any animals in your barn. And you'll have the cleanest barn of all time.
Yeah.
And you're going to starve. My dad's literally calling me. He has jazz. That's his ringtone. Hold on real quick. Hey, Papa. I love you. I did, Daddy. I'm recording a podcast right now. I love you so much. I just want to make sure you're okay. Okay. I'll call you later. I love you. Okay. Bye. All right.
This man got jazz.
All right.
Jazz.
That's my poppy, man.
He's got Damien Chazelle on the
All right. So if you don't want a messy barn, don't have any animals.
Right.
And you're gonna starve.
Yeah.
But you need a strong ox to bring in a large harvest. If you're gonna have an ox, you're gonna have a mess. And here's the problem: God's never had a problem with a mess. He's been dealing with a mess since Genesis 3. So So messes is not the problem. Poop is actually not the problem. In church, poop is not the problem. Poop management is. Like if you don't have a good shovel and a good power washer, then you're gonna be stepping in a lot of stuff. But poop should not be your issue. Like you're dealing with humanity, and you dealing with humanity, you're gonna be dealing with a mess. You're gonna be dealing with traumas and idiosyncrasies and failures and mess ups and all that kind of stuff. And if you have a good poop management system, like Matthew 18 has like, that's a good place to go for poop management. Go read it. I'm not gonna go to that one. Then you can navigate it all.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a strategy in place for poop management, then it starts stinking, and then you get knee deep in it, and then waist deep in it, and then chest deep in it, and then it's just disgusting, right? Because nobody wants to be around that much poop.
And then people who aren't prepped that there's gonna be poop in their ministry, like I remember being caught off guard.
Yeah.
Being like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. That was a little John.
Wait a second. We're doing what?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let's go. Oh, I'm gonna disagree with the senior pastor.
Yeah.
But if you kind of recognize it, this thing ain't. We're figuring it out, man.
Yeah, we're figuring it out. We're on a journey.
It's perfect.
Yeah, it's not perfect.
And the people aren't and the process isn't perfect.
Yeah.
It kind of comes and goes.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. I'm always so I admire. You've been in ministry, like people who've been in ministry for so long, especially like older people, man.
Yeah,
they walk a little bit slower.
Yeah,
they talk a little bit they recognize that, man. I need to pace myself.
Yes,
but young people,
all that energy.
I always see people get married. People get married 1 year and they're like, "Hey, listen to our marriage podcast."
I despise.
Okay. Yeah. You figured it out, huh? Year one?
The marriage podcast. The marriage conference.
Yeah.
It's like we just watched scandal break out in your entire life the last 18 months. And you got the nerve to still do a marriage conference?
That's where you need that Jamaican guy to be like, slow down, man. It's year one, man. You don't even know her, man.
You don't know her.
No.
You don't know you.
No.
It's
scary, man.
That is.
Especially people put their lives online and stuff, and you're like, whoa. What?
No. So I'm 47 years old. I've been doing ministry for 26 years. So I have some empirical data to talk about the stuff I talk about. I'm not a novice. I haven't been out here for 4 weeks, right? It's just that my melanin literally belies my age. It's not my fault. My ancestors survived the boat ride. This is one of the gifts. Okay. The other one is
we got here on a plane. We just last week.
Yeah.
We got here a lot
We
later.
wanted that option because I would love to know what my African surname is, but a lot later. Praise God, right? I just like I am of the mindset that we are part of a generation God is using to reach places sermons will not reach.
Amen.
And go places evangelists and revivalists cannot go.
Yeah.
So you said something earlier, man, and I loved what you said, but more than me loving what you said, Shama, is the way you said it. And that was you being in a film. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to be in movies.
Yeah.
Like there was just such this matter-of-fact confidence to it. Like, oh, that's coming. As opposed to, man, what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, one of the things I'm believing God for, brother, and I hope you pray with me before the pod ends.
God's Not Dead 6 hits my line, preferably out as I'm walking out of a cheesecake factory.
I think we have the technology to revisit Left Behind.
Oh boy,
I think we
Kirk Cameron fighting all those freaking atheists. Did he fight? I can't remember the movie. It's been so long.
Yeah, like those movies were trash.
Yeah.
I just want to. I know. I just need.
I might want to work with Kirk Cameron one day. So as a lover of Christian cinema,
the views of Tim Ross are not the views of Shama.
Tim, you know you got to kiss Kirk Cameron's ring to get into a Christian movie, right?
Listen, oh man.
Sam, he gonna get me in trouble.
I
Man.
pray for more for you. I pray for more for you. But I love that this is an aspiration. Now, I love let me weave that in with what you said about ambition, because I don't believe there is a positive connotation for ambition in the Bible. I don't really see it. The only place that even comes close, I think, is Romans 15. Paul wants to go all the way up to like Spain, and he doesn't even get to. So womp womp, right? So for me, I think the most dangerous form of ambition for a believer is what I call godly ambition. And that is when we make up something to do for God that he never said he wanted to do through us.
Yeah.
So while I don't believe in ambition, and I believe godly ambition is very dangerous, I do believe in aspirations. You can aspire to some things, right? I'm aspiring to do this. Well, what's the difference between aspiration and ambition? Well, ambition is I'm going to make this happen. Whereas aspiration is this is the desire of my heart. I have means and I'm open to the opportunities that are available to me as I'm navigating this space, right?
Yeah.
But bro, you can have there's a reason why there are exponentially more comedic writers than there are actual comedians, because delivery is important, right? And you are a master at delivery.
Thank you.
Of the content that you and your team are creating, right? And so who hasn't that worked in the favor for that ends up acting?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I naturally see that. But I want to see somebody that loves Jesus, who's grounded, loves grace, loves his 3 kids, loves his church, Greenville Community Church. I want to see that person in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Right? Who might bump into a person that needs Jesus and they're never going to listen to Greenwood's sermon.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can point them back to the live stream as much as you want to. They ain't coming, but they'll listen to you.
Yeah.
So if what if creatives are part of, I'm not trying to make it exclusive to us, but I believe people in the marketplace are the ones that, equipped from the words they hear from their pastors on Sunday, that are supposed to go into these 7 mountains and affect that change. And if we keep telling them, be careful of the world, as opposed to go out 2 by 2.
Yeah.
Someone you're grounded with, right? Paul, Saul and Barnabas embarked in ministry. John Mark came at some point, and it is the Mark that wrote the shortest gospel, only 16 chapters. They had a falling out. Mark did something that pissed Paul off.
Yeah.
Right, and he's like, I ain't rolling with him no more. But Mark is Barnabas' cousin, so he's like, man, I can't just diss the homie like that. And he's like, well, take him, but I ain't going with him. Right, so John Mark and Barnabas cut off that way. Paul instantaneously swoops up Silas and keeps it moving. Paul doesn't continue solo because he knows I'll be dead. You got to have somebody you go with. This is why Jesus sent out the disciples 2 by 2. This was meant to be done in tandems.
Yeah.
This is meant to be done. You didn't even show up here without the homie Chase. Chase, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so you know what I'm saying? So it's like we go out 2 by 2 and we're literally equipped to upset the entire world.
Yeah.
But if we're afraid of the world that we're meant to go out and upset, then we can't sit in our chairs from home and be pissed at the media.
Yeah.
When we don't even trust nobody from the camp to go into Canaan and spy it out, let alone take over Jericho. So I'm like I want y'all to wind up with a special that Kevin Hart believes in, without y'all having to compromise your Christianity, but you're just genuinely funny.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be a Christian special.
Right.
Lord have mercy. Nobody's asking Hassan Minaj, right?
Right.
To be like, oh, talk more. Do we have a Muslim comedian?
Yeah.
No, that fool is just funny.
Yeah.
It's just a funny dude, right? Dave Chappelle is a practicing Muslim. Nobody's asking the Muslim comedian, Dave Chappelle, a lover of Islam, through the progeny of Ishmael.
But they do introduce him as, man, this is a powerful man of Allah. Dave Chappelle, everybody to go.
The next man coming to the stage.
Right. Plays 7 sold out shows.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't like the fact that the world like the first century apostles are not being introduced to Gentiles as, here comes a devout believer in Jesus to give you the word of God. I bring you Paul.
Can I? This, what you're talking about right now, this is something that a lot of creatives that I know and work with, we don't work at a church. Some serve at a church. Yeah. We serve at a church, but we don't work at a church.
Yeah, for sure.
This is something that always comes up. I don't care. Airport, a car, a restaurant. Like, we're always talking about, like, how do we love, serve God, grow a business, collaborate, be creative? Because it's like, I don't think people were allowed to do it.
Right.
For many years.
Right, bro.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and so
for sure.
we're all part of this, like, first generation experiment of somebody who hey, I want to do a podcast. Yeah. And we're going to reach people. And people are like, well, people always say, oh, God could use anybody and anything. And we're like, hey, how about this thing? And they're like, well, you kind of need to be in tandem with a, and you're like, but I think there are a lot of people, I wouldn't call them like rebels, but I think there are a lot of people who have, like, we have really, like, come to peace.
Yes, absolutely. That's a great word.
With just the idea of, like, man, I'm going to love God. I'm going to love my family. I'm going to be creative. I'm going to grow a business. I'm going to build a thing. Yeah. And that's even connecting with a friend who had just left. Who I told you, get fired from the church I used to work at. Yep. Him and his wife had him over for dinner. And I went, first of all, like, guys, you're going to be okay. Yep. And then also, you know what I did when I left? I was a great member of a church. Yeah. And that's what you need to do. And that's not like, I wasn't like, this is a word from the Lord. But I'm like, I worked for a church. Dude, when my dad planted a church when I was 11, I worked at a church every Sunday. I mean, twice a day, Wednesday and Friday until I was 18. I was either playing guitar or playing drums. I wasn't good at either, but I was available, which is all that matters. I was behind the soundboard. I moved to college. I didn't even have time. I went to a church that my brother went to, and I went, great, I think I'm going to serve here. It wasn't even like I'm going to attend here. It was like, no, I'm going to serve here. And then I served there until I was squeezed dry and tossed to the wayside. And then after that I went, oh, I think I'm like a really good minister and a really bad Christian, and I had to slow down, man.
Bro, okay, something just hit me. I've never thought about this in my entire life, bro.
What's the Bible count at?
Like
5? I'm not saying there was a quota, but.
Bro, I've never thought about this in my. I've never thought about this in my entire life. I've never thought about this in my entire life, dude. I am like.
But you're still going to have such a smart, profound thought that's clippable, and I'm going to be very angry.
Dude, I've never thought about this in my entire life. Hold on,
let me. Got the Bible open, the phone up, man.
Hold on, real quick. How are we on time, boys? We good? Yeah, he is. Okay, so holy cow. All right, I'm about to read this and then, okay. So this is Exodus 36.
Oh, he in the Old Testament.
The Lord has gifted Bezalel, Aholiab. I actually call these two, Bezalel and Aholiab, because I'm a Bible nerd like that. So the Lord has gifted Bezalel, Aholiab, and the other skilled craftsmen with wisdom and ability to perform any task involved in building the sanctuary. Let them construct and furnish the tabernacle, just as the Lord has commanded. So Moses summoned Bezalel and Aholiab and all the others who were specially gifted by the Lord and were eager to get to work. Moses gave them the materials donated by the people of Israel as sacred offerings for the completion of the sanctuary. But the people continued to bring additional gifts each morning. I don't need to read the rest of that. The whole thing is about the creatives. Bezalel, Aholiab, and these other creatives were able to build what Moses heard. But after they built it, they didn't work in it. They built the tabernacle, but they didn't work in the tabernacle. And we have to, I'm still a lead pastor until the end of the year, right? December 31st is my last day. So I've been a lead pastor who has released creatives, and I have more creatives that work outside.
Released or released?
That's a great. Thank you for the. I need to make sure that's fleshed out. We empowered them. That's a better word. We've empowered them. We have more empowered that work outside than that work inside, as is with most creatives. But we have to release. Lead pastors need to release their creatives. Like they might be able to contribute something to the building of what you do through editing or whatever, but they ain't supposed to work in the temple. You can't contain that level of creativity. The people that built the cathedrals that have been here for centuries, you can't contain that creativity. They built it. They can't serve in there. Yeah. They go crazy. They're like, this is too limited. I need to go build something else. It's bigger than this. Yeah. Right. And so by empowering them to do this incredible stuff, I think we'll just see more people impacted.
Right.
With like beautiful work, with like the funny, the inspiring, the deeply moving, the and then upon further investigation, you find out you believe in Jesus.
Yeah. Like
you built all of this beautiful stuff and you believe in Jesus? That's what made the Queen of Sheba show up to Solomon's house.
Wow.
Was I heard y'all out here balling. I had to come see for myself. By the time she got out there and saw the excellence of the staff and the beauty of what was built, she goes, the half has never been told to me. What I did here was nothing compared to what I see. And so I feel like you and your team, bro, have the talent, you have the goods. The Dove Awards is a precursor.
Yeah.
Right? It's still within the space of like what we know as like the Christian, but your content has already spilled over into culture. Right? And you got people that have never stepped foot in the church that find loose cannon preacher hilarious, right? But if you trace it back to the origins, you realize, oh snap! I had a piece of content that went nuclear, at like 30 million views, and it was about marriage, like marriage being hard and stuff, something like that. Well, an actress who's married to a woman shared that piece of content. Well, if she pulls in that thread back to what we're really about, she'll realize that, oh snap, he has a different view of marriage than I do. But the truth resonated with her. And we have to be okay with putting out truth.
Right.
And allowing the Holy Spirit to do something with that truth instead of all the pressure being on us.
Yeah.
Right? I love Ray Comfort, but it's kind of hard to step in front of somebody that's walking down Venice Beach and be like, have you ever stolen before? What does that make you? Thief. You ever lied before? What does that make you? Liar. So you know what that means, right?
That's that AK-47 evangelism.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
We're like, hey, if I hit you enough, maybe you could be like, oh.
That's that genetically modified kernel of corn.
Right.
You want to put this in the ground and have a harvest in 2 days.
When you said we can give them truth, we can give, that's, what is it, the Bible verse, sanctify them with truth. Your word is truth.
Yes.
I've never heard anything truthful that didn't bear it wasn't like a freaking 300-pound backpack.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And so,
and when we're giving them this truth, this is what I love about, like, here's my mindset, my paradigm. I'm giving you truth, and it's not doctrinal.
Right.
I'm giving you truth, and it's not denominational. I'm giving you truth, capital T. It's a person, and his name's Jesus. In America, it's Yeshua in Israel. Like I'm giving you a person. That's my thought when I'm putting content out. I'm giving you a person. The roots go back to a person. So I might have said something about relationships, but if you trace it back to the root, I'm talking about a person. A person taught me about this. You know what I'm saying? Like all the content you're putting out, it's like putting smiles on like thousands of people, right? It'll be millions of people.
You know, the craziest part is you're a pastor. So, you'll find out, after you're not a pastor, next year. But you tell people what you do, and we were like, hey, I'm a pastor. People immediately kind of go, okay.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Or, they either kind of shun you or they go, I did crack cocaine 7 times last week.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You're like, oh, man, now I got to pray for
Yeah, exactly.
Now I'm going to be late to my meeting.
That's exactly right.
Jesus.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
But you tell people, hey, I'm in production, and they're like, oh, well,
Yeah. What do you do?
And then they're like, wait, you look familiar. And then
exactly.
they start, people I'm talking kids.
Yes.
Their grandma.
Yes.
Somebody else.
Yes.
And so then I'm like, oh, wow, on your own, you're like, oh, this is your demographic that you could reach.
Right.
But with when it's paired with something and then all of a sudden they're like, it's just everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's like,
dude, you're calling this out of me, bro. This is not me. I'm not trying to do this. You're just like a walking Magic Johnson assist. Like, I don't know, dude.
But also, a good analogy while we're talking about basketball. Knowing somebody really creative that's like not a part of a church, that's kind of like, or like somebody's really good at something. That's kind of like taking LeBron James to a pickup game. I mean, like, now you sit on the bench. We know what you can do.
Dude, okay, so
we're going to let this 17-year-old play drums again?
No.
He can't bury the click track, but we're going to let him try. We're going to let him try. We pay him $25 a service.
Okay, so Exodus. I was just in Exodus, and now I'm back in Acts, and I said Exodus. That's a hybrid. I've never
Bible
known.
drunk.
I'm drunk in Bible now. Okay, so Acts 10:38. And you know that God anointed Jesus of Nazareth with the Holy Spirit and with power. Then Jesus went around doing good and healing all who were oppressed by the devil, for God was with him. I'm a sequential person. I went to school to study administration of justice. I wanted to be a homicide detective. Sequence and context matters to me. He went around doing good and healing those that were oppressed by demons. If we could just get enough Christians to understand that being do-gooders is the secret sauce to bringing light to the world.
Yeah.
Jesus went around doing good and just happened to have the power and authority to heal those oppressed by demons.
Yeah.
If we get that do good part right, when you can do good and make people feel good, you open up their hearts for what is the ultimate good,
right?
Jesus. But if we're starting with I need to relieve you of this oppression of the demons you have, I don't think it's going to go well.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just me.
There have been, I was telling my mom, we were going to church yesterday, and she goes, do you remember what the pastor preached last Sunday? And I was driving, I was like, no, do you? You know, like, and I told her, I was like, you know, what I've learned spiritually and what has like really changed my life in terms of following Jesus and being a great disciple and being a great friend and creator and husband and father have been in conversations, mostly over meals with people I really know and trust.
Yeah.
And I think there's this, the ambition, the energy of like, man, I got this sermon ready. If y'all ready to hear it, I'm ready to preach it. Energy that you're like, this is going to change some lives. And you're like, you know what's drastically changed lives? Like eating ice cream cones on a sidewalk with students.
Facts.
Facts. And so there's this idea of like, I need to do something. I want to do something big. And you're like, no, if you do, as long as it's truth, it doesn't matter what, we're going to sit here in this McDonald's booth and we're just going to cut up for a little bit. And where the 2 or 3 are gathered.
Yes.
I am there. And sometimes like, you try to bring him, when you're a pastor, you're out with somebody, you're like working up, in the Bible, you're like, you ruined it.
Yeah.
It just comes up, man. Life happens. Nobody's like coasting by.
Yeah, that's right.
And that comes up. And those times, man, those opportunities have like, that's when I feel like, man, that's when it matters.
For sure.
And that's when it works.
Yep. Agreed.
And a lot of times we want to make it work.
Yeah.
We want to work it.
Yeah, man.
Right?
Yeah, man.
Right? When other times, when it works, man, it works.
Yeah.
And it changes somebody's life.
Yep.
And then somebody's like, hey, remember that time we went to the thing? You're like, well, no, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Because you weren't, you know what I mean? Like you weren't there going like, I got a suit and I'm gonna, no.
Yeah,
you were just there. You were just there.
There, man.
And God was there.
Yes. It's the long game, fam.
Yeah.
It's the long game, right?
And like whatever career, and it just, for me, man, it's been, writing or picking up a camera, being behind a camera or in front of a camera. And I'm like, wow, I always take a moment. Even I'm like, wow, look at what we get to do. Which is, it's under this kind of umbrella of it's fun and but also I'm like, man, you've said some strong things that I really believe that are gonna go and like hit people hard. Yeah. And it's gonna change like their outlook and their way of thinking. Yeah. Which is, that's what we're called to do.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. I'm not looking for 100% agreement. I'm just looking for some people to think. I don't even want to argue with you. Yeah. Right. I don't have a Bible degree. I can't debate with you. Right. Like I'm not an apologist. I consider myself a Peter and not a Paul, right? Paul, like, was Hebrews and, schooled by Gamaliel and all this kind of stuff. I'm Peter. Like, I'm the dumb fisherman that was like minding his business and had an encounter with Jesus, right? And then what is said about him in Acts, about Peter and John in Acts 4 is, these look like ordinary men, which is actually a diss, right? And these dudes are basic, right? Right? They look them up and down. These dudes are unintelligent. But we can discern they've been with Jesus.
Yeah.
That's just me. I've just been with the guy. Like, I was not checking for Jesus. The day I gave my life to Jesus, there was no sermon. There was no altar call. I was in the back of a bowling alley banquet room, and my parents are preaching, and praise and worship was going, and the Holy Spirit said, "You're a sinner." And I gave my life to Jesus. That's 26 years ago, almost 27. It's my life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if I think the formula is do good and have the spiritual authority to be able to heal those that are oppressed by demons.
Yeah.
I've been able to, like, see people come to Jesus after a year and a half of sitting at a restaurant and they just waiting on me and me just tipping them well, and then just like maybe writing something that the Holy Spirit inspires me to write on the back of the check. And a year and a half later, they're ready to give their life to Jesus. Right?
You know what you've talked about, like what it frees you from, and I think this is what I was freed from when I was released from a church.
Yeah.
Man, it frees you from striving.
Yes.
And that's, I mean, Chase and I have been talking about this for the past couple of weeks of like creating stuff, putting stuff out. We're like, we're in control of very little in terms of this process.
Yep.
And so we don't, like, what we can do.
Yeah.
Oh, we put up, here's another podcast.
Yeah.
And you're like 5 months in, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
You know? And so there's like this, man, really, man, I have occasionally, my wife, like, I'll be stressed.
Yeah.
I got kids, man. You know, kids. But even then, I'm like, I'm not as stressed as I was when I was doing it all by my own.
Yes.
On my own, and I'm doing this thing. I'm like, no, man, this is God's a part of this.
For sure.
God's a part of this.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Like we with Sam and Hector, like, we've literally said, like, you know what? We're just gonna be consistent to put out content. We don't know what's gonna go viral, and what does go viral, we can't study and analyze it to try to repeat it. If we're consistent, what goes viral goes viral.
Yeah.
We just need to be consistent in putting out content. That's our assignment, right? People are going to wake up with us in the morning. They're going to have a piece of content once a week right now, and maybe twice a week in the future. There's going to be a pod. We're going to be in your ear until you get sick of us or uninterested or go somewhere else. We're just going to be here. You know what I mean? And I'm in it for the long game. I can Jay Leno this joint. You know what I'm saying? I can do this for 30 years. I don't know if anybody's going to want to listen to me.
I might retire. No,
you know what I mean? When I'm 77.
Come on, Jay.
Leave, Jay.
Come on, Jay.
Leave, Jay. Right?
How is that the most spot on Jay Leno and brother?
So, dude, I'm so inspired by you. I love you.
Love you too, man.
I love you, Chase.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. Like, what you're doing is it's Acts 10:38. You're going around doing good, and when necessary, you have the capacity to heal those that are oppressed with demons. But man, like I just encourage you to keep putting this out. I hope this won't be your last time here. Like, man, I want to see you on television. I'm ready for the sitcom. I'm ready for the Netflix special. I'm ready for.
Thank you, man.
I'm ready for it. I am cheering you on, dude. Yeah. Like when you win, we all win, fam. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
I genuinely appreciate, like, everybody. I feel like everybody that comes down to the basement helps to make all of us richer. Like, I am a better person having met you and heard your story.
Thank you.
Yeah. More informed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So thank you, bro. I love
Thanks for having me, man.
No, dude.
This has been incredible.
Dang.
At some points, I forgot that I was a guest. I was like, I got to
You're the co-host. I'm telling you, bro.
I just thought,
you passed me like 17 assists, fam. It's crazy.
Man, yeah. You already know. I've said it enough, but I'm really excited to see what God has already been doing with this podcast and what he's going to continue to do, man.
Thank you, man.
We need it, man. We need it, dude.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you. The space needs it.
I'll say this last thing. I thought about this earlier and it just came back, but I have a real dear friend who I've just given permission. Hey, if you hear anything, you think I've gone too far, you got authority to yank my chain or say something to me. And he said, dude, I know you're called to do what you do. And it's different. He said, I just don't want people to view you as a Howard Stern. And he said he's coming from a pure place, and so I didn't take any slight to it. And my takeaway was also, I got to take that chance. Like for the stuff that I know I'm supposed to talk about,
yeah,
I got to take that chance. Because there's, to your point, if your creative community has been kind of talking about this, we got to normalize this conversation.
Yeah.
We got to normalize a bunch of conversations for us to be able to navigate this with honesty and authenticity, and not be whispering about it. You know what I mean? But not like hot micing it because, oh my goodness, when you say that, then I don't know if there's some doors are going to close. Hopefully it garners the type of conversations that push us forward.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm trying to stop, but Acts 15, we're not Gentiles as we are if it's not for a bunch of Jews getting in the same room and screaming at each other, like veins popping. Like verses 1 and 2 of Acts 15 literally say that Paul vehemently argued with them about what to do with the Gentiles. If they don't have that argument, we're not here as we are right now. We have to be Judaized, right? And I just feel like courageous conversations and sometimes very uncomfortable conversations can get us to a place like it was with those Jewish men in Acts 15 where they came out and said, it seemed good to us in the Holy Spirit that we don't bother you Gentiles with anything other than these 4 things, right? And now let's keep the gospel moving. And so maybe after a good debate, argument, differences colliding, we come out on the other side going, it seemed good to us in the Holy Spirit that we had this conversation and now we can move forward like this. So thank you, bro.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. You flew out here for a day to hang out with your boy, and I don't take it for granted.
And that's not because I hate Texas, but I just, man, the Christmas season, I love Christmas.
Oh, bro,
and I'm like,
get back home.
Can I get back?
Yeah, you can, bro. And I hope we made it easy for you to do so.
Absolutely,
yeah,
man.
so
I really appreciate you.
Thank you, man. I love you.
Love you too.
And until next time.
Thanks for having me, man.
All right. I love you guys. Salute. Peace.